Cool. Well, let's kick it off. Welcome back to Held Accountable. I'm Brandon,
I'm Mitch.
and tonight we have some technical difficulties. Holy smokes! Um, oh, I'm not going to slander the app, but yeah, we've had some problems. But we got a really, really special guest tonight, and that's Joe from Elk Bros. How's it
Hey,
going,
what
man?
up?
We made it.
Finally.
Made it.
Yeah,
Oh man, what a mess! Like told us you didn't want to be too late, and
Here we are.
here we are, just rolling through the clock. So,
yeah.
oh well, it's good to have you, man. Thank you.
Thanks,
And
man. Yeah, I'm excited, man. Anytime I can, we get such a great listening audience from our brothers and sisters up north, man.
mm,
I think it's so cool. I
yeah,
mean,
it's
we
probably
get a great listening audience from Canada.
that's awesome. I mean, you guys are. That's the thing. Like, you guys are intense, just fun. You can see that faith aspect to it. It's just it brings an element to hunting that I think we're just missing. Like, it's like we get too serious now.
It's refreshing.
Yeah, it's really refreshing.
Hey,
Really
I want y'all
refreshing.
to talk to my wife. Let her know I'm refreshing.
Yeah, no kidding. I like it.
Because I mean, we're talking Gilbert, Louise Chav. Them dudes are, not refreshing, man.
Well, maybe when I don't know, maybe when you're not around them all the time, but
It's fair.
when you cue in on the socials and hear some episodes, it's refreshing to us Canadians. Maybe that's the difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
That's
awesome,
good.
man.
That's good.
Yeah, and
Well,
you
we
don't you don't have any trouble with the accent, man?
no,
No, it's good.
it just rings true. It just sounds
Yeah,
good.
cool.
Are we accented?
You get a few words in there,
Yeah,
about and those types of things.
bow,
Yeah,
little bow,
yeah.
a little A's, couple A's,
Plays. Yeah.
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
A's.
I hear the A's come in. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Oh, well, we want to get the kind of the backstory on Joe and Elk Bros, and like I'm sure there's got to be a lot of people that don't know of you guys and think they should.
Yes.
Um, so we kind of wanted to pick your brain, kind of go through it's got a little bit of a graph, just kind of start from like what got you into the elk hunting, how all those years ago, and just slowly transition into
I,
Alberta. Obviously, catering to us. So we want to start off with kind of when did you get into it? How long ago was that?
dude, man, elk hunting or hunting?
Elk hunting
Elk
specifically.
hunting.
Yeah.
So, elk hunting happened because I was hungry. So I'm a backwoods Carolina boy. Nobody in my family ever went to college, anything like that. And my dad died when I was 13, and he was a veteran, U.S. veteran, and I ended up getting the GI Bill. And next thing I know, people are wanting to fund me going to college, and my stepdad said, "What are you doing that for, man? You gonna be a bum your whole life?" And I was like, "Well, I guess I'm going to college then, man." So I put $1,500 in this shoe, $1,500 in this shoe. I was about a half inch higher. Got a one-way ticket going to New Mexico, and came out here to go to college, man. I met my wife when we were going to college. We were 20, and so we got married very young. Didn't have to. We
Hmm.
decided to, right? Um, and one of the things that I always did when I was younger was our family. We had a big family, 6 kids. You guys hear me okay?
Here you
Yep.
go.
Cool.
We just noticed our video froze, so I don't know what's happening
Yeah,
there.
I noticed that, but we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, as long as
Um,
we can hear it.
But yeah, you guys, you look really interested. So you got the,
Yeah, we got a really good pose going. We're just dialed.
I got you frozen stiff, man. Um,
Rigor mortis.
so I came from a big family that my dad was driving 60 miles. My stepdad, driving 60 miles to a job to try to support a family of 8, man. So there was a lot we didn't have, but I can tell you this: we didn't know we didn't have it and it was
Mm-hmm.
probably the tightest we ever were as a family. And we hunted, we fished, and we provided. So that mentality has always been part of my life, man. That putting, going out and getting food from the woods. I mean, even like in the Carolinas where we lived, we had a lot of farmers around us and corn, potatoes, watermelon, cantaloupe. And after the machines would go through and pick the potatoes, it doesn't always pick up all of them. It doesn't pick up the small ones. You get a rainstorm and they just glisten out there. And we call those new potatoes, man. And they would let us
Hmm.
get those. So, I mean, we were always getting things from the field and like
Right.
that. So, when me and my wife got married and we were going to school, my bow and my shotgun were the two things that I had. And
Okay.
I used the shotgun for, dove, rabbits, and squirrel and stuff like that. And my bow was my big game. And I hunted squirrel and everything else with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but my bow has always been a part of my life since, I don't know, since I was like about 6 years old. Um, so I came out to New Mexico. I got me, at the time I started hunting here, um, you could get a deer, turkey, bear, mountain lion, and elk
Wow.
license for like 34 bucks,
Oh,
right?
that's the
Imagine.
dream.
Imagine.
Yeah. So, I got a deer, my first deer license, and I was hunting deer and still hunting through the woods. And I'm moving through really, really slow, and I hear something. And, when you're still hunting, I mean, everything's about your eyes, your ears, your nose, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm going through, I hear something. I just back against a tree, catch some movement, and it's unbeknownst to me at the time. And this is the first time I've seen an elk before in my life. I think I'm like 19, and
Right.
this cow elk comes and literally could have smacked her on the rear end. And when she went by me and I saw the size of that animal, here I've been hunting squirrels and
Yeah.
rabbits and deer, which after you get done with it, it's only so much. I see this, I see, man, this winter supply walking through the woods, and I was like, honey, I'm home. So, uh,
Right.
my first year, I think I was 20 years old, the first year I ever went elk hunting. I was invited by some guys in our bow hunting club. I was a pretty good shot, and these guys had said, "Man, you ought to go elk hunting." I was like, "I've never been elk hunting. I don't know what to, what." So we just go and basically I hunted the elk the way I hunt any other animal. You figure they got to eat, they got to drink, they're going to
Mm-hmm.
use trails, they got things that they do, and so we're in the middle of the Pecos Wilderness, and we get in there on horseback, and I make my way down into an area, and I was like, I saw how this, and I found a trail and it had large track on it. I knew it wasn't deer track, figured it for elk track,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked like, it was getting close to the evening, and I figured, man, this might be the spot. So I set up on there. I had this doggone buck. I didn't have a deer tag, had an elk tag. Had this buck that would stay every time I would move, he would just walk with me 20 yards away.
What?
Only when you don't have a tag,
Of
right?
Of
course.
course, yeah.
And so I sat on a log, and the way I'd gotten into the area, I rode a horse right to one part, and then I put my horse, hobbled it up there, and then I hiked down into the area. Well, I'm sitting on the log, and again I hear some noise coming because I hear some steps on the rocks and stuff down in there, and I look, and sure enough, here comes this cow elk, and she starts to come out. She's about 40 yards, and I'm like, that's my shot
I can
right
do
there,
this.
broadside, and I knock my arrow. Now I shoot. Now I'm not this year, and that's a different story. But all
Yeah.
my life I've shot instinctive fingers my whole life, compound, but instinctive fingers.
Okay.
All right. The problem is now is that um, it's hard to find a bow that you can shoot fingers with these days, right?
They're all too short.
Oh my God, man! And
Yeah,
and they're center rested, so it
that's
just
right.
it just changes everything. So, um, but at this time I'm doing that, and I go to knock my arrow, and I look, and my arrow rest has been ripped off the face of the bow.
Oh
No
no.
way.
Yeah, this cow elk is just
You're
going.
right there.
Yeah, it's just right there, 40.
Yeah.
Now it's at 35. It's feeding because it's
Yeah.
evening. It's just taking its time coming out.
Yeah.
And now, at that time, my knowledge set about elk was very minimal, and I didn't know that, to expect that there might be more of a herd following or something like that, right?
Right.
At that time. So I was just kind of like that buck. This was my opportunity at an elk. So when I put it there, I was like, okay, well, I've done this before. I just stuck my finger up. I've handled, stuck my finger up, knocked my arrow on top of my finger, drew back, and drilled that cow.
That's
And
awesome.
um, she died. I mean, she turned to go the exact way she came in and died on the trail. And then I get there and I've got a dead elk.
Yeah. You're like,
And it's
what
like,
do I do with this thing?
oh my gosh, look at the size. I mean, with a deer, I'm doing stuff and zip, zip, zip like that, but I mean, this thing was huge. Nothing I had ever experienced like that. So,
Right.
I break out my pack and I get some line and I tie off one leg and I tie off the other leg and it's getting dark now.
Oh yeah.
So as it's getting dark, I put my flashlight in my mouth, and the way I shot her, she was quartering a little bit. So I hit the lungs, and it went through part of the paunch too, because she's
Mm.
downhill. And so she's starting to puff up. And as I'm going, I'm slipping the
No.
fingers, and I've got and sure enough, I
Oof.
popped a friggin' paunch,
Oh.
and
Right. No,
just I'm
I can.
covered with friggin' grass all over my face,
Uh.
and I can't. I've got the flashlight in my mouth, so I'm breathing the air up through my nose, man.
Oh no.
It
I can
was like,
taste it. It's
oh,
awful.
Yeah.
unbelievable. So first time and only time for that. You learn from your mistakes, but so
Yeah.
here I am. My two buddies I'm hunting with, they're at camp, and I had the horse. I had the horse up. I don't know, a couple miles. So I just got everything done, got a skin, hung my meat, and I started taking off. Luckily, I'm in the middle of the Pecos Wilderness. Now this is 1983, right?
Okay. Okay.
And you know, you've got maps and compasses, right?
Yeah.
And woodsmanship. So
Hmm.
here I am in the middle of the Pecos Wilderness in the middle of the night, and I knew camp is up. I knew my horse is up on the side of this one. So I just get everything done. I take a piss all around my elk to make sure none of the critters wanted to get close to it. And I don't know if that was the right thing to do, but I know how much, wild critters don't like human scent, so that's what
Yeah.
I did. I
Yeah.
marked my territory, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
And
I would have never thought to do that, to be
No.
honest with you.
oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I would have never thought just to start peeing around everything. But
Yeah, that's just you're hopping around, in a tree, like that. Uh, but I just headed up, and by the time I found my horse, and then by the time I got the horse back to camp, they're at the top of the mountain, and it's like 2 in the morning. They're not worried.
yeah, just hey man, yeah.
you know. So that was my first elk at
Wow.
20 years old, and that began the addiction. And
Right.
shoot, man, I think um, I think I killed an elk almost every year for. Now there were a couple years that I didn't draw, um, but it was like something like 38 elk in 40 years in public land, and
Wow.
and all with my bow.
That's
And
unreal.
but when I told you guys a little while ago, I was hungry.
Yeah.
That's how I hunted. And even though I love the daggum hunt, I love every aspect of it, I went out there to fill my freezer.
Right.
So I was a pretty determined son of a buck out there,
Yeah.
you know. Um,
Hunting with some desperation almost
you, you
to a certain
know,
degree.
yeah, it's like before I would leave, my wife and I were teachers, and
Yeah.
we didn't make a whole lot. And when we got married, we didn't have a whole lot. and especially before we graduated from college. So here I am buying broadheads. Here I am
Hmm.
buying arrows. Now, a dozen arrows at that time were like 36 bucks, you know.
Right.
Broadheads were hardly anything, and then the license was 34. But for to take income out of our household
Yeah.
Hmm.
to go hunting and then be gone from home, um, my wife's like, "You better bring something back." That's all I'm saying.
That hasn't that I still hear that.
I hear
So
that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
what are you going out on that 10-day hunt for? What do you mean you didn't kill one? It's
yeah.
like, I'm sorry, babe. Next year.
So what I'm gonna pause here just for a sec so that you
Hmm.
guys can close and come back in, and then
Okay.
that way I'm gonna see if you guys come back in with better video.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, something.
Just say and that you're leaving and then come back in.
Yeah, we're gonna end it right now.
Technical difficulties. That's what happens when you're dealing with the internet and Canucks, man. Just get in, Brandon and Mitch. I got you back now. Just turn it.
Okay.
Let's see. Now turn it again and see if it does it. There you
There
go.
we go. That's
Yeah, we're
better.
back. Now we're
Okay.
good, man.
Now we're not just dialed into the same pose we were in or whatever, just
Yeah.
pure intentment,
I,
right?
I mean, you guys were intently
Oh
listening.
yeah, it was.
We were.
That's gonna be an epic part of the pod for sure. Just like, do these guys not move?
so,
We're
so,
practicing for elk season to have that sucker behind us and don't move.
Yeah.
so that kind of started the whole deal out. That was my first time doing it. After that, I had to find ways to hunt that were within my budget. And
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
meant that, I was going in in a pickup. I was sleeping in the back of the pickup. At first it was in a little orange car, and I would
Yeah.
Okay.
take that thing up into the mountains, dude. I mean, people would
Love
see
it.
it coming bombing up,
Love it.
but I'd sleep in the truck. My brother-in-law, he's really in Spanish is concuño. We're married to sisters. So Chav and I are married to sisters. And
Yeah.
Chav became my hunting buddy immediately. We've been hunting together for over 40 years. And so we found ways to get out there and hunt as inexpensive as possible.
Right.
Um, I hunted in tennis shoes, running shoes. I
Mm.
hunted in camo that I'd get from my uncle from the military, or, at that time it was Kmart. There was no Walmart, or you'd go
Yeah.
to get it from, people having yard sales.
Yeah.
Um, using double X75s, wasp broadheads. Now, I'm not saying those are bad. I mean, I killed a bunch of elk with those
Yeah, I bet.
things.
For sure.
And, we lived off of bologna and cheese and peanut butter and jelly.
Mm.
We used a Bota bag for our water system inside a fanny pack and just a light day pack on the back of us, man. So
Wow.
we kept ourselves as slim and trim as possible economically,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and brought home meat. You know, I was killing. I think I killed my first bull. Trying to see when that because it was cow. And I'm trying to think if the next year, it might have been a bull the next year up in the, yeah. In fact, I got sick, I think, when I killed that one. But it's, for me, it was, I was going to find these critters. And when I first started elk hunting, y'all, um, I didn't know anything about calling elk, right?
Right.
Again, I was using woodsmanship. But one thing I figured out was their smell immediately. So I would start hunting in a crosswind, hunting the areas that I knew they wanted to be, that they wanted to bed, and really doing a lot of spot and stalking at the time until I started getting into them and I started hearing them because I'm like following these groups of elk. I'm getting into herds. I'm hearing bulls bugle and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I got a chance to be around them a lot and learn their language, and I could turkey call with a diaphragm. I think I was using Quaker Boy diaphragm at the time,
Okay.
and started trying to mimic them with the diaphragm call. When I heard that, and you know, reading Bowhunter magazine with Dwight Shue
Hmm.
and Jones and Wayne Carlton, and then then things started to come out with VHS tapes, and
Hmm.
you could see things like that. But these guys were talking about it, and you would see it every now and then on a TV show or something like that, and I actually got to meet Larry D. Jones and be in a
Nice.
shoot. I got a chance to
That's
know
cool.
um, Wayne Carlton before he passed. Mark is a good friend of mine.
Amazing.
I never got to meet Dwight Shue before he passed, but these are people that molded me,
Yeah.
and the things that I saw, and to me, they were like these people up here doing things
Yeah.
that you only read in magazines.
Yeah. They're on
Uh,
this like level that you just don't think exists for you.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then I just started doing my thing, right? Me and Chav out there and we're killing elk, man. And we'd come back and my boat club is like they're like, "How are you doing this?"
Right.
And I think it was about you fast forward about 16 years later, there was a guy that he talked to a neighbor of mine and he called me, he says, "I understand that you hunt elk." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I'd like for you to teach me to hunt elk." And I was like, "Well, how's that going to work?" He said, "I'll pay you daily to teach me how to hunt elk."
Wow.
Wow.
And I said, "Well, I'm I need to hunt elk." And he says,
Yeah.
"Well, you
Yeah.
can hunt them. I'll pay you to let me hunt with you." Right?
Wow.
So we started doing that for a while, and I think I was with him for about 4 years, and me and Chav, and we'd have a little camp, and he had killed an elk. We got a great story about that. But
Hmm.
um, one day he looked at me, he said, "Joe," he said, "Do you realize you've killed an elk every year now for 16 years?" And I went, "Yeah,"
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and he's like, "That's pretty good." And I was like, "That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, that's why we
That's
get
the whole
out here."
point, isn't it?
Yeah. So I never really thought a whole lot about that. I didn't, again, there's no social media, there's not all this
Yeah.
stuff, and you don't get to see what really. Now I knew that friends of mine that weren't killing elk, but I also knew friends of mine weren't getting up, you know, a couple hours before daylight. They weren't spending
Right.
all day out. They were doing a lot of time in camp. There was a lot more fun happening than
Yeah.
hunting happening. Now,
Yeah.
I don't want to say hunting's not fun, right? But I think you know what I mean, right?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's how it started. And it's interesting because when I first started hunting elk, the private ranches really didn't do archery hunts. They they really didn't think much of the bow and arrow as a weapon. They thought that it's a toy basically.
Right.
You know, so they never really started, wanting like for somebody like myself to help with bow hunters or anything like that. But
Hmm.
as things started to go, and now you've got these names that are really starting to, get out there and be seen and heard,
Yeah.
archery started to take hold. And then some of these people that had never seen bow hunters hunt were seeing the lethality. They were seeing,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, uh, guys killing these animals and putting animals down quick, right? And
Hmm.
all of a sudden there started to be an infusion, and you had that now, especially if you're an outfitter or you're a ranch. Before you were only hunting the rifle season,
Yeah.
Right.
so that's only that income from that, October
That
to
time slot. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, you mean I can make income in
Wait.
September?
You mean I can bring 10 more guys in?
Yeah, yeah. So they started doing that. The only problem was is the guides on the ranches were really rifle guides trying to take bow hunters, and
Right.
That's
it,
tough.
yeah, it just not the same. I mean, you're a bow hunter, and different people today have different feelings. Now, I grew up in the deer woods, and silence and scent were everything,
Yeah.
right? You didn't want your bow to make a noise. You didn't want any of this to make a noise. So, um, I carried that over into my elk hunting as part of that. So I don't want somebody guiding me that smells like, he's smoking as he's going through the woods and, you
Using his
know,
wind check.
yeah. And he's been wearing the same breeches for, now we can do this now with merino. With
Yeah.
Yeah.
merino, you can wear the same piece of clothing for 7, 8, 9 days. But when you were wearing, at first it's cotton, and then people started to wear polyurethane was even worse, man.
Yeah.
Or
Just
polyprop,
holds
polyprop.
polypropylene. Yeah. It
Yeah.
just holds it. Man,
Oh,
it's all, yeah.
I
It's
mean, it
bad.
just reeks, right?
Yeah.
So there was a disconnect there. So now ranches in our area were starting to look for guys with a different skill set, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And and that's where I first, got, where people wanted me to start guiding for them, for
Right.
some of these ranches and stuff. I like that.
That's really cool.
So that's Elk Bros. I was actually guiding for um so I'm a retired high school teacher coach, right?
Yeah.
And um when I was coaching my team, my track and field team, something happened at that time, a thing called Title IX here in the U.S. And a lot of schools misunderstood what that was about. It was like, if you had a boys and a girls team, they felt like they mistook the word equity for equality, right? That whatever this side got, this side had to get, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So because of the issues of trying to deal with money, making sure it got between boys and girls, they they did away with being able to for parents or businesses or sponsors to give money to a team. It had to go to a booster club, right?
Okay.
And then the booster club would put it out there.
And then
Well,
they,
yeah, but generally that money went to the teams that, football,
yeah,
basketball,
yeah.
right?
All the top ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the time it got to you, so a lot of parents and sponsors that just dried up. They wouldn't give money. So,
Mm.
Right.
um, I had been coaching. I coached here in Cimarron for 30 years, and I coached track and field for 34 years. I also coached basketball, cross country, football. But at Cimarron High School, my track and field team is something that we built from the bottom up. And
That's cool.
um, one of the parents of one of my kids was an outfitter, and he came to me and he's like, Joe, man, he says, I can't stand what they're doing with this stuff. He said, I tell you what, you come guide for me for free, right? And I will give you a check for $5,000 for your team. You spend it. I'm paying you.
Wow.
You can spend it on them any way you want. That's coming out of your pocket. So that's what we did. I'd
Mm-hmm.
That's
actually
cool.
bring in some friends. I brought a friend to cook, and he'd bring in clients. They'd be paying him, and out of the 6 clients, I'd get one of the clients' checks, basically, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, man, we did that. I can't tell you for how many years and how much we spent on our track kits and bought equipment,
Man.
bought shirts, bought food,
Yeah.
everything like that. And
That's awesome.
one of the clients that I took out was bringing clients. At first, I didn't actually guide him. I was guiding his clients, and that's how it works a lot. You know, business guys will take a group of guys, right, for
Right.
the business to a hunt. And his name was Gilbert Ornelas, and the guy that I was guiding for was Carl Gamage was his name,
Okay.
and so that's the first time I ever met Gilbert. And Gilbert, when I met Gilbert, Gilbert was a big boy. I mean, 330 maybe, just really big fella. And
Yeah.
but such a passionate hunter and just a great soul, great dad. He had real young kids at the time who are now, they're both graduate from college. Crazy how
Yeah.
time flies. But
No, that's just it. Even
yeah,
hearing your stories, I'm like putting the pieces together, and I'm like, man, that's just such a cool history, honestly.
there's a reason for everything. And um, so Gilbert's there, and I'm taking out his clients, and his clients are coming back, and they're going, "Oh my God, Joe called in this bull." I mean, I had a fella that I called a bull in for him. I have him right in front of me. The bull, I tell him I can see the horns as the bull's because he's coming up from the bottom. It's a cold, really, really nice, cool, cold
Mm.
morning. He's coming up. You can see the steam. He comes
Whoa.
up in front of my hunter 10 yards away, comes up and screams in his face with the steam coming out of his mouth. And,
Oh,
and he's at full draw, and the bull starts to walk broadside at 8 yards. And he goes, honest to God, how far? How far? And,
how far is it?
oh, you know what? He says, which pin is what he
Oh,
said,
which pin? Which
Which
pin?
pin?
All of
All of
them.
them, man. And
Anyone.
Just
he
put that
he
on
ends
that sucker.
he ends up locking up and letting the bull walk by us at 8 yards. No,
No.
Wow.
but that's just most people don't understand, especially guys that have come out that haven't had that up close
Yeah.
and personal
Yeah.
experience. They don't get it, man. In fact, Gilbert, the first bull that Gilbert shot, when he was with us, he was actually not with me. He was with a man called R.C. Knox. Okay, you might have heard of R.C. We call him the legend. So now you've
Yeah.
heard Gilbert, you've heard
Yeah.
R.C., you've heard Chav, and you've heard Joe, right?
Yeah.
Um, R.C. and Carl were best friends. R.C. was my assistant coach in track.
Okay.
Now, RC has always been an angel in my life. When I didn't have, RC would take care of us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
great human being, and one of my best friends, a brother, love him to death.
Mm.
And so he has Gilbert, and ends up calling this bull down. The bull comes down to a road. Gilbert ranges the bull. Now I want you, the day before, I'm talking to Gilbert, and Gilbert's like, he's out there, he's shooting, we're shooting off the porch, shooting at a target, and we're talking. He's like, bro, I kill hundreds of whitetail, hundreds of whitetail. You just put an elk in front
Put
of
him in
me,
front of me, and
and
I
it's
got
over, right? So
it.
this bull comes out at 40 yards, and he ranges that puppy at 40 yards, right? And the herd starts to come, and all of a sudden this other scream happens, and this bull comes out and comes up at 18 yards again. Whoa! Like
Oh.
that. Gilbert draws back and shoots, puts his pin on it, shoots with his 40-yard pin.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
oh,
and
yeah.
and hits that bull high. And we're like, "What the heck?" He's like, he tells me afterwards, man, he's like, "Bro," he said, "everything I knew about bow hunting went out the crack of
Just
my rear end when that bull
gone.
came up."
Just gone.
Yeah. People just don't realize, that what that is like, man.
It's the adrenaline. They're big. They're beautiful. They're sound. It just, not to take away from your story, but my brother experienced that last year. Very short end. We slow played this bull 2 hours, I think. Anyways, I finally decided, I'm like, we're going straight at him. I'm gonna just like estrus buzz him,
Uh-huh.
and I'm just gonna make him think that he stole a cow off of this little pocket herd, right? And I could hear the bull coming. Brothers, he's starting to get ready. I looked at him. I'm like, he's coming. He's coming.
Yeah.
He's like 20 yards from me. I don't know what went on. I don't know. Just had a moment. Bull steps out. He's 8 yards from my brother.
Right? Right?
She's at full, and then he can't draw. He tries to draw. Now he's just drawing too late. Manages to, which was incredible. And then the bulls, I'm like, why aren't you shooting? Why aren't you shooting? And I could see him. He's shaking. He's got the half twitch going on. And I'm like, oh no, this isn't going to happen. So I learned something that day, that you can actually call the elk a lot closer than you think you can.
Oh
So
yeah.
I just buzzed at him again, and he just stretched the neck out and screams in my brother's face. Takes a step, he shoots. I don't know what happened. He thinks he picked the wrong pin. I don't know. He hit him, but it like hit him had to have been
Brisket.
low in the brisket. There's hardly any
Right.
no penetration, whatever. But yeah, my brother same thing. He's like, man, like you just when it happens, like you think you've got it under control, but like
I mean,
no,
everything like that. I mean, especially like, does he shoot pins, right?
yeah,
Release.
yeah,
So what happens a lot of time is that release never even makes it to its anchor. So they end
no,
up shooting a whole different place than what they should, right?
Yeah.
totally different. Yeah, your whole anchor system is gone at that
Yeah,
moment,
yeah.
right?
They just like they're just pulling back and squeezing, man.
Just
They,
Shop
like
shop process? I've never heard of
what the
it.
shot process, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
elk do that to people.
Yeah, exactly.
and I'll get back to my story, but you bring up something
Yep.
there, and I'm always about education, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that whole thing about people have the roughest time of knowing when to draw on an animal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because at least now, man, with 80% let off, you can hold a long friggin' time. But
Yeah.
you know, when I was hunting, I was hunting with 30-35% let off.
Yeah.
So, and I'm shooting a 70-pound bow, and so when you're pulling back, you can't hold that thing for April, May, June, and July, man.
No.
You know,
You got
so
timing's critical.
Yeah,
yeah, and
timing.
one thing that if I could tell anybody, if yes, like you've got an elk that is coming and he's moving, the best time to draw on an elk is when they're moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Especially if they're moving to the side of you, like if
Mm-hmm.
they're broadside moving, because everything around them is moving
that's
when
right.
you
Yeah.
do it that, right? And you always draw on that critter when they are in your shooting lane. Because even if you draw and he stops, and this is a proximity thing, let's say he's 8 yards away and you draw him, he catches movement, he's going to booger for about 10, 15 yards. Then he's
Mm-hmm.
going to stop and turn broadside to see what boogered him.
What
Yeah.
happened? Yeah,
Yep. Now,
exactly.
if he's at 20 yards or 30 yards when he's going through and you draw and he catches the movement, he's going to stop and he's going to look at you to see what that movement was, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to stop right there and he's going to look, and there's your stop and pop right there.
Yeah,
So, you can, a lot of times you can draw like if they're coming through and if they're already like covered and you can see horns coming, you can draw and they get there.
Mm-hmm.
But there's risks with that. What if they come in and they're frontal, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
um, if not, and they come through broadside, man, you're all there. Yeah, pop, right? You got
Yep.
it.
yeah,
So it's that whole drawing thing. But if you have it where you can see that part of that animal is coming through and they can't see you and you can get that draw, well, that's great. But if it's one of those oh crap moments,
hmm
where they're already in a visual and going by, so many people, man, so many hunters are like, okay, where's the tree? They're going to get their head behind the tree. I'm going to draw.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's the worst thing you can do, because as they get that head behind the tree and you start your draw cycle, everybody's trying to be smooth and try to get it back. By the time you get to this, their head's on the other side. And remember what I said they're going to do?
stop
Yeah.
Stop and look at you. So once their head's on the side and they stop and look, where's the kill zone?
Cover.
behind the tree.
Behind a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. So just from that, I just wanted to make sure I added that in there.
No, I
that's
love that.
that's a great nugget for sure.
I love that.
Yeah. But, so I was, Gilbert, that was his first time with RC. Well, Gilbert came to me after hearing all these stories with his buddies about the encounters and all the elk and everything like that. And he was like, Joe, he said, I want to hunt with you, man. And I said, Gil, man, it's not going to do you any good to hunt with me. You cannot hunt my style, not at the weight you are right now,
Mm.
you know. And so he goes back to camp and Carl, you need to do something. Joe called me a fat ass. He said,
That's not what I said.
no, I was like, I did not say that, dude. And and I told him, I said, and I made a deal with him. I said, Gil, and now this dude's 3 1/4. He's on a CPAP. He's on medications, and I said, Gil, you get down to 265. and you and me are hunting.
Hmm.
He did it.
I mean, wow, good for him.
He did it, man. And it's unbelievable the change in his life and what it did and how it got him off medications and how
Oh man.
got him off his CPAP and everything
Yeah.
like that, you know, and changed his life and added years to his life. And that's one of the things I told him is, dude, you're such a great dad.
Yeah.
You need to do something to be here for your kids and your
Yeah.
kids' kids, right?
That's right.
So,
That's a perfect accountability moment. Hey, just help a brother out and
but
get a little motivation, right? And then, oh,
that's what it's about, though, man. When
yeah.
you have a camp, when you have an elk camp, and you guys are spending all that time together, there's a lot of stuff that comes out, man, and you get to
Oh
learn
yeah.
a lot about yourself and about the people around you, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That camaraderie, man.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
Gil did do that, and the following year I took him out. The following year he wounded a bull. He ended up hitting a branch, and it deflected and wounded a bull. We did not get that bull.
Mm.
His hunt was over. He wasn't going to hunt another one. And here's what I love about Gil, man. As he was looking for that bull, and we had been looking for hours already, he goes off into this area and just happens to get in the middle of a rut. I mean, he's got these bulls around him. He said he's got a walkie-talkie. He's like, Joe, listen to this. And I'm there.
Wow.
Bulls are screaming, going nuts. I mean, he's going, they're right here. And he had 7x7, 6x6. I mean,
Jeez.
Oh wow.
and sat there and enjoyed the moment and never pulled back and threw an arrow.
I love that actually.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the kind of guy he is, man. And he gained a lot of respect with Carl and myself for that as well, you know. So
Hmm.
the following year we go out, and I'm telling you, I'm taking Gil up a hill, and Gil talks about it. He said, God dang, man, I would just look at the back of your feet, man, and just like, I just got to stay with them, you know,
Just
and
don't lose track of those sneaks.
we got into this group of elk and we had incredible experiences there. And I ended up calling a bull from off private property using scenario calling. And this is, I don't know, man, this is like 15 years ago. Before
Okay.
I never knew what social media was or
Right.
anything like that. I
No,
just
no
learned.
slow play, no terminology, no nothing. Just
You know, it's so funny. The first time Paul and I talked about stuff, we were doing the same things, and he had like all these names for things, and I was
hmm
like, well, I'm just doing this. I'm trying to be 4 cows, a bull, and a couple of small bulls. He goes,
right.
yeah, that's you know, and I ended up before I even met Paul calling it a rut fest when I would do that, and
Hmm.
Right.
we talked for hours about one time about all those different things like that. Just a great dude, but. No names for it, just things that we did, scenarios that we did, right? And I end up pulling this bull across, and I had a ground blind down near a clearing with water in it, and I had a decoy at the end, so that when I pulled those animals across, they'd see that decoy and they'd
Oh
come
yeah.
across, right? So I told Gil, man, when that bull's screaming coming at us, we're about 150 yards from the ground blind, and I heard that bull, and I could hear how the tack that he took, and I told
Hmm.
Gil, I'd go, I know where he's going, let's go, and I just started running, and Gil gets down there, and I get him in the blind, he's,
Oh yeah.
and I'm like, I'm behind him, I'm like hitting him on the back, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this, bro? And I
Ready to
was
go
like,
to war here, hey?
and this bull comes and he comes to the fence line, jumps the fence. Because as he comes to the fence, he looks and he's looking because I
Yeah.
had just thrown calls into that clearing and let it
Right.
bounce off in there, right? And so he's looking. He sees that decoy at the other end. Boop! He's
Boom.
over,
Sold.
starts coming. He comes across, and I told him, I said, dude, when that bull gets right here at 40 in front of us, I'm stopping him. You draw and pop him, right? So that's exactly what I did. That bull came out, and I screamed a bugle. Gil drew, bull stopped.
Boom.
That was Gil's first bull, and
Nice.
it a beautiful bull too, man. It just a gorgeous bull. So we had this kind of stuff happening, right? And you heard some of the characters in here.
Yeah.
Well, Carl had lost the lease to the ranch, and so we started doing stuff in public land, right?
Okay.
People draw. And in 2014, Carl, he was a master welder, and he was paid to do a trip to Papua New Guinea. And I got a call um, from Guild that Carl had passed away.
Mm.
That they found him in his room dead from an aneurysm. So
Oh,
and
man, that's tough.
what had happened was that long flight, he had got a blood clot in his leg, I guess, and it went up to his heart and killed him
Mm.
instantly. And I will tell you this, guys. I have never cried like that in my life, man. I mean,
I, I got tears just a flowing emotion. Like, man, that's tough.
it was one of the hardest things in my life. And I had guided Gil, and I knew him like that as a client and a great dude. Um, but and he always talked about how much Carl meant to him. And we
Hmm.
got stories about their first time ever talking and stuff. But I was asked to do the eulogy, and when we went to the funeral, there was Gilbert Ornelas. He had left Houston and came to Taos, New Mexico to go to that
Mm.
funeral, and then Santa Fe. And I was like, this guy's not just talking; he's walking the talk, right?
Wow.
And he came up to me and he said, Joe, we can't let this stop what Carl has done.
Mm.
We need to have hunts where we can talk about him, where we can,
Yeah.
tell our stories, and he lives through us. And so
Yeah.
we started um we started doing hunts together like that, and and he would well, I've got a friend that wants to come hunt with us. It's your camp. Can they come? And
Hmm.
they said they'll pay you to hunt with you. If you teach them how to hunt and stuff. I was like, well,
Back to
um,
that getting paid to hunt thing again.
yeah, and I was like, no, they can just pay for this and pay for that in the camp and everything like that, right? So this is the first time I meet this guy named Luis Gonzalez, and if you've ever listened to any of our earlier podcasts, you'll hear a lot of about Luis, and he was just
Hmm.
on the show with us last night. And when I meet Luis, um, the place that I hunt, y'all, I mean, it is a booger to get in. It will beat your vehicle to death. It'll beat you to death,
You're
and
right.
it's really rough to get in. And I meet Luis, and he's in a like a forerunner, like a Toyota
Mm.
forerunner with these nice running boards on it,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a two-wheel drive, and
Oh,
we only have to go in 7 miles to get to camp, but to do that 7 miles will take you 4 hours.
Oh
Right?
oh, geez.
jeez.
So I looked at him and I go, and we introduced each other. And I was like,
Yeah.
Bud, are you sure you don't want to go in with me or in one of the other trucks? And no, 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 I'll take this in. No, no. And he's got this accent, right? He's from Venezuela.
All
Okay.
And
right.
Yeah.
and so I was like, do you really like those runners on that vehicle?
Yeah. Just trying to just give them every opportunity to back out.
I tried to, man, and no, no, I'll do it, And so we start going in, and man, I'm on a four wheeler, and these guys are following me. It's like, because there was Gilbert, there was Luis, and there was Tucker, another friend of his that was coming in, and they're kind of following me, and I'm taking them through mud holes, up over rocks, around trees, and it's been like 2 hours in, and I stop and I see Luis get out of his vehicle. And I thought, okay, these city boys done had enough. He's getting ready to come give me a piece of his mind, like, where are you taking
Yeah,
us?
yeah, yeah.
He comes over and he comes to me and he goes, Joe, if I don't see an elk, if I don't hear an elk, if I don't smell an elk, this has already been the greatest adventure of my life.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Oh
And
man.
I'm like, dude, inside my head, man, I was like, man, all right, this is my kind of guy. I said,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're having
yeah,
fun now, you just wait, right?
yeah.
Perfect.
And then he goes over to his vehicle and he goes, I don't know, that clearing right there. I got a machete. And he pulls out this big machete. He's like, you want me to clear? I was like, no, bro, just go put it there.
Just you're good.
So we'd go through and we'd come through another area, man, and we were going around and we'd stop and he goes, Joe, man, I can clear that. I got this machete. It's like, no, Luis, we're good, and we're doing this as we're going. There's a point where Luis gets stuck in his two-wheel drive and we pull him out, right?
Yeah.
And then, Gilbert's giving him a hard time about it, and he's got his big, 250 diesel four-wheel
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
drive, and he gets stuck with that, and
No.
Luis pulls him out with his two-wheel drive.
That's awesome.
So Gil never heard the end of that, and
That's
we go
awesome.
into this one real tight turn in this huge juniper bush that's going out, and I go, Luis, what? Machete! Woo!
He
He
finally
was,
gets to use it.
oh, he hacked and whacked at that thing, man, like some
That's
kind of butcher, But
That's oh, dude.
it was just, I mean, that first time meeting them, and I hunted with Luis on that first time, and um, he hunted with me and Chav, and Gil, and Chav would hunt with Gil, and so I've got Tucker now. This is my camp. Yeah, you can come with me and you can hunt, but I'm hunting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I'm gonna help you guys, but I'm hunting, and so we're going through, and I'm leading, and so I always had to hunt the first 5 days of the season, September 1st to the 5th,
Okay.
because I was guiding after that. You know,
Right.
the ranches, hunters for some reason never wanted to hunt the beginning of the season. They always felt like, as you get in there around the, you know, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and then that second part after
Mm-hmm.
that,
Yeah.
when you got full exploding rut, they were like, well, because they can hear them, they know
Yeah.
it's out there, right? Well, so I would always hunt the first 5 days. That's when I had to hunt. And so we're going through, and my early season strategy when I'm moving is, my scenario is I'm just a cow or a cow calf or maybe three cows just moving as you're going through
Yep.
transition areas between bedding and feed. And
Mhm.
so I'm moving through and it's just, yeah, and I'm listening and yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like that every now and then, just
Mm-hmm.
like cows would do as they're going
Yeah,
through.
just a couple cows making their way.
Yep. And sure enough, I'd always have these bulls come sneaking in on me.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're moving and we're going, and I'm doing that. I'm just like, yeah. And then we're stopping listening. And I look and I catch some movement, and there's a bull sneaking in on the three of us. And I give them the signal that there's a bull there. So everybody's knocking arrows. And this bull comes up and he's looking and he's looking, and something just didn't seem right, and he turns and he starts to walk off. Well, I'm just letting him walk off, because once he goes into the trees, I'm not going to call where we're at, because we're in the open. It's not going to do any
Mm-hmm.
good. But once he goes into the trees, if we can move up a little bit to get an effective shooting range, I can throw a call back behind me, and he'll come to his last place of security where
Yeah.
he came out, right? And we'll get a shot on that booger. So as we're just letting him walk, and we can hear the footsteps. Well, the only thing was, I didn't know that those footsteps were not just his. There was a bull walking in behind us,
Oh
man.
no.
And so I go to take a step, and I told him, let's go follow that bull. I take a step, and I hear crashing, and I look, and this bull is only, I don't know, 10 yards behind us.
Oh,
And
wow.
he starts running off. And so I knock the arrow, I draw back, yeah, and he stops, turns broadside, and I popped him. He goes up about 20 yards and goes heel up, man, just
Nice.
like that. And Luis looks at me, he's like, bro, I have never seen anything like that in my life, man.
You
I,
just
it was just like that.
hooked. Yeah.
So we end up with that bull. I end up calling another bull in for Tucker. He ends up popping it in the shoulder blade. So
Mhm.
we're tracking this bull, and as we're tracking it, we hear some noise, and we look, and down the hill from us, I see Gilbert. He's got his sleeves rolled up here. I don't know what he has in his hand. Looks like a pocket knife. and he's bloody as heck, and he's like, "We're so glad to see you." And I go over there, and Gilbert has killed a 343 bull. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, over there. So within probably a half mile of each other, I've killed one, he's killed one, one's been hit, right?
Jeez.
And I want you guys to know this. The whole time that we were in there, you could hear ATVs leaving and going by us or going around us.
Hmm.
I actually like that you made that point because
I experienced that on the last trip I did.
yeah.
We were actually going into an access off a pipeline up in northwest Alberta, and we had shut the quads off probably a mile from where we wanted to go. And I was going into sound check bull, didn't hear anything, and we actually came back to go to a different area, and I just sound checked one more time, and boom, there was a bull about 50 yards away from our where we parked our ATVs, and almost killed that bull.
Yeah.
Didn't quite work for us, but yeah, ATVs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
I've been bedded with a herd, Mitch, and I was bedding with them, just waiting for them to make. I was waiting it out, right?
yeah,
One thing that we teach guys is when you're hunting elk, you've got three decisions to make. Either you're going to call, or you're going to wait, or you're going to move. That's your three
mm-hmm.
decisions. Now,
Mm.
that a lot of times you might be calling, and then you have to move, you
Right,
know, or you're
Yep.
calling and all of a sudden that animal's there, and you got to wait,
Now
and
you
then they
gotta
go
wait.
away that and then you got to move. But you don't complicate it. You're going to have to do those three things. You're going to call if you're going to create an encounter. You're going to
Yeah.
move if it's going to give you a better shot opportunity, or it's going to put you in an area where the elk are going to. In other words,
right.
Yeah.
you want to move to where they're going to be, not where they're at, or
Yeah.
you're going to wait so that that animal can make a mistake, right? So, um, I can't tell you how many times I've been in situations like that, and I'm just bedded with them, waiting for them to see what they're going to do, right? I'm just watching
Mm.
it, and all of a sudden I hear a four wheeler coming, like, oh, he's going to blow them out,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I swear to you, that whole herd ears came up,
Yeah.
and they were just like
Just
listening.
following it probably too,
Yeah.
hey?
And then all of a sudden it stops and it goes off.
Classic.
They throw out a
Classic.
bugle, nothing. And they just watched the whole time. Never boogered, never did anything.
Yeah,
So that's something for people to think about. In high use areas,
Hmm.
these animals are so used to traffic or people,
yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like that, that don't think just because they're somebody, like I've gone to Hunter Ridge and I've been with somebody and we would meet a hunter and he said, "Yeah, I'm just coming from over there." And the guy I'm with is like, "Where are we going?" I said, "Well, we're going that way." "Well, he was
Yeah.
just there. You didn't see anything." It's, that
Like,
was at the moment he was there,
yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. It doesn't mean anything was there. And I mean, I've been in rut fests. Gone over a ridge, 600 yards, bumped into a hunter who says they haven't heard anything.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I've had a rut fest literally 120 yards off a pretty main oil field road up there. And yeah, ran into guys on the road coming out.
Yeah.
Never heard anything, haven't
Yeah.
heard anything all day. But yeah, I think especially in our neck of the woods, there's lots of access everywhere. And
Right, right.
um, you don't have to be 2 miles off the road
No.
to get into elk.
No,
No.
no, there some of the best places, man, are places that you wouldn't think, are just going to be these little stop and pop areas.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and we always hear about people in the West going to a trailhead to hunt,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
then they're like, well, there's 6 trucks at the trailhead and stuff like. Well, from the point they started going up the mountain to the trailhead, it's like 6 miles or 8 miles or 5 miles. There is that's where the elk hunting is,
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
there and
I
the
know.
trailhead, in those
Right.
areas, right? They're
It's so
passing a
true.
lot of elk.
So true.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I think there's
I can't count how many times, how many experiences, how many encounters, you know, even to the point where we're hiding in the bush because we don't want guys to know we're there. So we're like hiding away, and then you see, two guys, one guy putting on the quad, and the other guy's hanging off the back of the rack, and their bugle hanging off of them. And I remember, I think my brother even said, he's like, "Ah, dude, I don't know, like, do we even waste our time?" I'm like, "Let him go."
Yeah,
And
don't
I
worry
think
about
it
it.
was 20 minutes later,
Yep.
just a little locate bugle, bull popped off in the creek, and I was like,
Here we go.
"Let's go."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So it was really the following year, Luis had brought in a friend, and so now you're seeing the whole cast of characters,
Yeah, you're getting a good
Um,
dynamic. Yeah.
and I'll tell you, RC Knox, after Carl passed, RC went through a stage where he couldn't go into the woods and he couldn't go hunting. I mean,
Mm.
that's how much Carl's death affected him, and
Wow.
so he wasn't with us, and it was me, Chav, Gil, Luis, right,
Hmm.
um, and one day, Luis, because I was teaching Luis how to hunt. One day, Luis, he told me, he says, "Bro, man," he says, "you don't guide or you teach, you coach. He
Mm.
says, you need to do something with all this knowledge you have."
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, at that time it was like writing articles or everything.
Hmm.
And I'm like, no, dude, I can't just get behind a typewriter and do all that and then submit and all that stuff. Now, I had actually done that a couple years early when I was younger. I had a couple of had article published in Bowhunter magazine, and I had sent some other things out there. In fact, I sent in a story about um, doing scenario calling back in the late 80s and got denied because they were like,
What?
well, what's the difference between your scenario calling and just calling a lot, right?
Uh,
And so I was already talking about it then, trying
yeah,
to,
yeah.
because there was something that I had done one time when I killed this this bull back here,
Okay.
that's back behind me. Um, when I killed that bull, that was a bull that I did a little rut fest with to pull him in, and
Wow.
I shot him at about 18 yards, and that's it's a 351 bull, and
It is a
and I'll tell you
smoker.
this so that everybody hears this: if he'd have been a 270, he'd be up there on
It
the
wouldn't have
wall.
Wouldn't have mattered. Yeah.
mattered.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. I just happened to pull in the big dog at the time.
That's awesome.
But so Luis started talking about that, and um, I was retiring from teaching. I have a little bit of a heart issue. I have an enlarged aorta, and it was time
Okay.
for me to do something different. And when Luis heard about this, he's like, "Bro, you got to get that knowledge out before you die." And and they got me thinking about it. And then one day I was on the internet, and this is 2019, 2018, 2019, and
Okay.
I'm on the internet. It's got to be 2018, and I see this online elk hunting course by this guy called Corey Jacobson.
Hmm.
Right?
I took that course.
Did you really?
I
Awesome,
did.
man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for you.
It was
Um,
good.
but when I saw it, see, I was already doing online because I taught in high school. I taught video production,
Yeah.
graphic design, web design, broadcasting.
Okay.
So that was my skill set. And I was already developing online courses for my students. They would come
Right.
in, and that's how they would log in right away to do this stuff and go through the courses I had developed for them. Well,
Hmm.
when I saw that, I was like, man, that's my wheelhouse, right?
That's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I could do that, but I've been a coach all these years. I can do it in my style of coaching.
Right.
And so I called up Gilbert, and I said, I have an idea, man. This is what I want to do. And I said, I want to call the company. Chav has always been my brother, and we've always been
Mm,
hunting elk. And kind of to honor all the people that have been in our camps, I decided to call it Elk Bros. And
that's awesome.
it's funny because him and I, we did this, we did a photograph um, of us on the top of a hill giving each other a high five with our
Yeah,
open
Yeah.
hands.
yeah,
And that became the Elk Bros emblem, you know.
yeah.
That's
Um,
cool.
The small thin guy is me. The big ugly guy is Chav.
Yeah, you can really tell in the silhouette. It's really obvious.
Yeah. And so I called Gil and I said, Gil, man, I have this idea. I want to do an online course, but it's not going to do any good. I knew about the internet. I've been working with it and doing it, and I do web design. I said it's not going to do any good just to put a course and put it on there because it's a tree in a forest, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said we gotta find a way for people to know where to find it. And I
Yep.
said I heard about this thing called a podcast. Now YouTube was huge, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was really banging, really booming then.
Yeah. And I had that skill set to be able to do that. But man, it is people do not realize what it takes to do a video piece. I mean, of a
Oh,
hunt or anything like that.
oh, yeah. There's work,
It is
work.
so much work, right? But then I heard about this thing, man. I said and they had just started coming out. I said, it's called a podcast, man. And he goes, what's that? And I said, well, it's like radio on the internet, right?
That's a good way
But
to put it.
Yeah.
you can do a show. So it's a radio show on the internet. And I said, what do you think? He said, bro, they pay me to talk, So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sign me up.
So the very first episode of Blue Collar Elk Hunting is me and Gilbert Ornelas.
That's
Um,
so
that's
cool.
how we started, and and then started pulling others into it, and I mean it's so funny, y'all. After we did that first podcast, when we got our first 30 listeners, I'm like, dude, 30 people.
I because I started this thing solo. Um, it's just a cool backstory. I wanted to be in the industry of some sort, right? You're dreaming, thinking, and I'm talking to the Lord, and I'm like, man, like, no, I don't want to do videos. I don't want to do this. Everybody else is doing this. I don't want just, I don't want all those things. And then it was just like podcast. I was like, I don't like talking. I don't like you. I don't even want to do it. And then and then it was shown to me. It was the point when the adulterer was about to get stoned, and Jesus drew the line in the sand, and then it was like held accountable, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this held accountable podcast.
There you go. That's your
And then we
inspiration.
I put out the first episode, the motive, I think it was called, the who, what, and why, or whatever, and didn't have a clue what I was doing.
You guys were talking.
I was just talking. My brother joined in, I think, just to help with my nerves. And I think 5 people listened to it. I blew up. I'm like, people listen to this? I was like, okay, let's try another one. Let's try another one. And so
What
I get that feeling of just sheer excitement of just such a mediocre number. You're like, this is incredible.
Well, it's interesting because when we first started, and people were doing podcasts. They had a podcast studio, and they had to have their guests there in the podcast
Yeah,
studio,
yeah,
right? And here we are doing you and
yeah.
me. We're doing this thing over Zoom. Well, when Zoom first came out, um, this is pre-COVID when nobody knew about Zoom, right?
Right.
And that's what I was using because there's no way I could get Gil here, right? There's no way I could get Luis here, and we had Manano at the time in Dallas, and um,
Hmm.
so it was like uh, I figured out how to put it together, do the podcast so we could do it remote, and we started doing the podcast, and Manano comes to me, he's like, Joe, I've been reading about podcasts, and it says that the perfect podcast is 22 minutes,
Okay.
right? And I'm like, Manano, I can't say my name in 22.
You're in good company.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have heard Gil talk. There is no
Yeah.
way we're going to get a point across in
No,
22
no.
minutes, right?
You're
No.
just getting a hello in, and you haven't even started it
So we
yet.
started out doing stuff, and then things started to develop. And, what really changed our show was my wife used to watch this morning show every day. Um, Gosh, what was the name of that?
Hmm.
Kelly and whatever, or something like
Oh,
that.
Kelly and Regis?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
Regis and Kelly,
yeah.
right?
Regis and
Watch,
Kelly, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, watch that every morning, and I'm like, okay. I'd go in there and I'm like, okay, they're having their BS session. Now they're having a guest come on. Now they're doing a giveaway. Now they're doing that.
Right.
It had a structure to the
Yeah,
show,
yeah. Yeah.
Right.
and it was a structure that everybody that was watching the show was comfortable with. So I
Right.
was like, hmm.
Hmm.
So I started developing our show with segments where we got a chance, because really we started this because it was our chance to share our camp with everybody else,
Right.
right? It's like us being around the campfire, just like
Yeah.
right now, the three
Yeah.
of us
Yeah.
are just around the fire, right?
Just hanging
Right.
out.
Just hanging out. And it was inviting anybody else that wanted to come into our camp, and that's what we were doing, right? So that's how it, what we wanted it to be. And then we started to develop some things so that they had the session where they got to just hear us be us.
Yeah.
Then, you know, we did it one time because I saw how many, like, these cities of people that were listening to us,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just kind of gave a little shout out, right? And
Oh yeah.
I went, yeah, and then I was like, as I listened to the show, I was like, when I was a kid, I used to watch a show called Hee Haw.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it before.
Never.
No,
No.
doesn't ring a
Never.
bell.
Now,
No.
now I want you to know I've heard of the Red Green Show,
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
and I've watched it a lot, right?
Yeah.
But that Red Green Show had that kind of structure, right? You've heard
Right.
Yes.
about it, right?
Yeah.
Well, in Hee Haw, it was a music comedy show, right?
Okay.
And there was a section where they would get together and they'd play and they'd go, Hee Haw salutes, and they would name a small town in the United States. In fact, my wife's town was announced one time. They were like,
Nice.
Hee Haw. Now, this is on national TV, y'all.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Hee
Right.
Haw salutes Maxwell, New Mexico. Population, da 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 da.
Yeah.
Hee Haw. Like that.
Oh.
So for us, our listeners are what matters,
Yeah.
because
That's right.
otherwise we can just
You,
wait and talk to each other, right?
you got, yeah, you got nothing if you don't have people
Yeah.
tuning in.
And these people are taking their time. They're sending in emails. They're reviewing. They're listening. And now, I mean, I stopped counting at one point because we were in 20,000 cities in 80 countries, right?
Wow.
And when we hit that, I was like, how freaking cool. And I was like, we have to thank these people. We got to be
Yeah.
intimate. So I started looking at the stats, and what I would do is I would take the top listening cities, and we were going to find out something about them, and we were going to just give them a shout out, right? And at first it was like 6 cities. Well, we've cut it down to like four on
Mhm.
that when we do it. But that first one, and what we do is too is um, if they've been had a shout out, we skip
Mhm.
over them. Like all the time, it would be like Denver, Dallas, Chicago,
Yeah.
Seattle,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
You big ones.
Yeah. So we go down the list if they're, and you ought to see my shout out list, man. And it's like a database, and so I can put a find and oh yeah, we haven't done that one. So and so we give it to those other ones as we go down the list. So
Yeah. That's
that's
cool.
just kind of how that stuff progressed. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we used to do our mailbox, Elk Bros mailbox, at the end of the show, but a lot of times, man, we would run out of time because we talked so long. So I
Yeah.
inserted it up towards the front of the show to
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
sure
Right.
that people's questions would get covered.
Cool.
So
Yeah. The last, I don't remember which episode. You'll know probably as soon as I say it, but it was talking about, the question was some about the rut. Oh, hunting in October. It was like the first week of October or something, and oh man, how did that go? It's like it was such a good question. Now I don't remember it, but it was a good discussion. It was talking about the weather and the rut and why it's like such a good time to hunt, and it was just so cool to see just the open discussion between all of you. Of course, my phone's being used. I'd love to go and look at which episode that was, but it was cool. I liked how you guys inserted at the beginning. You get the question from the person, and then you guys just round table answered it, and
yeah,
there was like one so far over here and then over here, and you get a little not disagreements, but it's cool. I like
Different
that. I really,
perspective.
yeah, I love that angle of it. It's
you
super
know,
inviting to
that's how it is at
engaging. Engaging is a
that's
better
how it
word.
is
Yeah,
at elk camp, man.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I mean
yeah,
that's how you grow. I mean, we don't. if we all believed the same thing, we would never grow. And so we got to challenge each other.
Absolutely.
We got to challenge beliefs, and sometimes you have these you just want people to justify your opinions, and
Yeah.
what good does that do in helping other people, right?
That's true.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And
Just puts yourself on a pedestal that
yeah.
does nothing for anybody.
Yeah.
And what was so cool was Luis, when he first started with, he was so inexperienced that it was really cool because he'd be like, he would take the role of the people out there listening all the time. It's like, well, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we take so many things for granted that we say, right?
Mm.
Well, we really don't, um, you know, like when I hear a bugle and I start going to the bugle, I'm always checking the wind. I don't think about
Mm.
telling people that I got to check the wind first because
Right.
Right.
everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
but Luis is like, you just go straight at them? Well, no.
No. I've already
But
done this, and this.
yeah, but by doing that through those challenging and through the questions and through the debates, great knowledge comes out of that.
Yeah.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
I
So
agree.
So that's
I
what I
agree.
like about what we do, and I constantly, because I am kind of the information guy, and I'm trying to get my guys to always like, well, what do you mean by that, or challenge that,
Mm.
or add their different flavor to it. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Right.
that's the beautiful part about Elk Bros Adventures is I know, you heard about us doing, the podcast and that. Well, that actually built into other things because people
Yeah.
wanted to hunt with us, and I've been a guide for like 30 some years, and I was actually training guides for the ranch that I worked on. And so I was like, well, why aren't we doing this for, teaching it in our way, right,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Mm.
people? So I ended up getting my outfitter's license, and we started doing it on public land. And now we have 2 leases, and we have Elk Bros Adventures, and so we teach. I would love to do DIY, but the
Mm.
whole logistics of waiting for people to draw and then try to get things to happen before they get, and then train them before they
Right.
get there, it's
That's
almost
tough.
impossible, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in working with the state forestry and trying to get unit-wide tags, I'm sorry, but working with national forestry is so difficult, man.
I bet.
It is so stressful. So by getting leases, it took away a ton of stress. We have
Right.
property we know what our tags are. We're able to sell. We've been training guys now since, God, I don't know, April, May,
Oh wow.
if they bought, and so they've been training with us online, remotely, using our course, using our Success Squad materials. We have a web page for them, a couple of them, and then when they come to the hunt, when they come into camp, they're doing everything DIY on our coached hunts. They're bringing their own sleep system,
Okay.
everything, bringing their own
Cool.
travel system. We're trying to make sure that when they leave us, they're ready to go hunting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they come in, their first day, as soon as they come in, we bring them in. And as soon as they get everything set up, we start training right then. So that first half a day is training. We start out the next day with our gray light scenario. We have coaches in the field playing the parts of elk. The guys
Mm.
are up before daylight. They're going out. They're doing their calling. They're trying to locate. Then they'll hear the calls, and now that we, as coaches, we're with them, and they're having to make decisions, and we really get a chance to help them with
Man,
their decision making in real time,
that
right?
is
And
that is
that
cool.
sets everything up for the hunt that's going to happen the next day. But we do all of these training scenario situations, all on that next day, that really light them up. We do a thing called clocks. And am I speaking too fast? Because I get excited,
No,
man.
man,
No,
just
no.
no, send
Yeah.
Keep
it. You're
send it.
doing
Yeah,
it.
keep going.
We do a thing called clocks with them, man, where we have a 3D elk in the woods, and we have set stakes kind of clocked around that with that elk in the center. And they have to go to that spot, put their foot on the stake, and then say, is that a shot they're going to take? Is that the shot angle they're going to take? Is it
Okay.
from the level that they're going to take? If they
Right.
choose not to, now they're like, well, I got something in the way. We'll draw back and move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Start
know,
leaning. Start. Yeah.
Take a
dude,
step.
this is not the backyard, man. This is
Mm-hmm.
elk hunting. So
Mm-hmm.
we take them through actual scenario situations. And when they go, no, I wouldn't take that shot. And I'm like, why? Well,
Mm.
I don't want to take that quartering two shot. Absolutely. Now, let me ask you a question. If you were to take that shot, where would it be?
Where would
And
you
we
put
have
it?
that
Yeah.
conversation, right?
Yeah.
Not that I'm telling them I want you to take it, but I want you to see why it's so difficult. And then
Right.
they
Right.
take the shot, and that can reinforce sometimes the wrong thing because they peg it, you know?
Yeah. They just, yeah, pump it in that tiny little,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
But they get to see and feel that they're drawing and they're moving, and always every time before they shoot, yeah, they have
Mm.
to stop the animal before they
Yeah.
shoot,
Yeah.
right?
Train the brain to be in that moment.
In that moment, man, because it's so funny when you ask guys to do that and they've never done it, it blows their shooting because it
Yeah.
Mm.
changes the whole process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we train them to have that as part of their process, right?
Mm.
While they're doing it. So we do that. We go through signaling each other in the woods. We go through how to walk through the woods. Most guys don't know how to walk through the woods with two hunters, man. They're walking side by side. One guy's
Yeah.
watching one guy's feet. They're both making
Yeah.
all these noise. So we actually teach them how to move through the woods as a team on that, right? So we do all of this training, and then the next day they get 5 days of hunting after that, right?
Cool.
So they go from pre-training and learning
Yeah.
here to boots on the ground. I even do I do a thing what I call a cadence walk. So I actually that first night I go out and I have them follow me and we start going through the hills and I want them to see where I'm calling from, how often I'm calling, and why I'm calling, right?
Okay.
So they can see it again in real time because
Right.
when you're teaching people it's just like you're always calling
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and that's not how it
It's
is.
not. There's point and strategy to it. You're not just throwing Doug Fluties everywhere and
100%.
yeah.
And three out of our four elk camps, coach camps last year for archery, three of the four times we got a bull responding.
Nice.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be a build-up moment for, for the guys coming in too to actually
Yep.
Fighting off of that.
have a bull pop off like that. Just
Oh,
gotta be,
Reinforces everything you guys are teaching, right?
yeah, yeah,
yep.
absolutely.
Man,
So
that just hearing that fires me up because
Yeah,
I'm just thinking about the learning curve that I've gone through, and arguably we're always learning, right?
yeah,
But
right.
just hearing that how much of a shortened learning curve that could have been if
yeah.
we had that opportunity up here.
If you had that, yeah,
Yeah.
That's really cool what you guys are doing.
Yeah. It. You know what's so cool about it is because when we're coaching, we're not guiding.
Right.
So we are putting them in the driver's seat. They're making decisions. They're doing, and what we are doing is just like any coach on a sideline.
hmm
We have taught them about strategy. Sometimes we got to have a timeout and go, you
yeah, yeah,
know, listen to what you got, right? And
Yeah.
give them options and then
mm,
let them make decisions from the options, right?
yeah, yeah,
Right.
So it's a great way to help them learn as they're going, you know.
For sure.
And here's the other thing, like let's say we have a bull that screams up there on the hill and he's coming in. I'm not going to go, Mitch, get right there by that tree, in front, in front, in front. Okay, I'm going
yeah,
to go
yeah,
back and I'm going to call. I just took control of the situation.
yeah.
That's
We're
right.
not doing that. So what we're doing is when he hears that bull and he turns around and looks at me, I'm like,
What do you got?
yeah,
What?
that sounds cool. And if he goes tells me set up an L, go back, and then he starts moving up, I will absolutely become his partner and call.
Yeah,
But he's going to control the situation, right? I want him when he leaves camp and he has a partner to then know how to use his partner and
yeah,
tell his
Right.
partner what he wants, right? So we are their coach, we're their mentor, and we're their partner when we're out in the woods.
yeah.
But
Super cool.
they're in the driver's seat. So uh,
I actually like that. Like I learned that hunting because me and my brother basically we just been paired up and you have those ups and downs. But I like the point of especially the shooter making the decisions because I found as a caller I love calling, so I'll call every time. I love it. Um, but when you say dictate, when I dictate what to do, if I tell him okay, like you go forward and set up and I'm in no stretch am I knocking my brother. I think it would happen to anybody. you rely on the guy behind and you almost stop thinking for yourself.
Right.
So then you almost lock yourself up like I can't move here.
Right.
Because I would always reiterate to him like if you hear me moving, you need to move with me. If you hear the bull there, maybe I don't hear the bull, but you got to move. And so that's cool that you put that decision on them, and then you just become just a tool for them, right? Like
Yep.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
I like how you.
And
Well,
we teach them how to communicate with us with small hand signals, not doing
mm,
anything crazy,
yeah,
small hand signals,
yeah,
or using calls. Like if they're
mm,
going to move up, they'll give us three cow calls if they're moving up. Things like that.
yeah,
If they want us to come to them, they can use like a turkey call, and we'll come to them. They're natural things in the woods.
right,
Yeah.
They aren't going to disturb anything. So we go over how to move and how to shift because there's sometimes when I'm back here calling and he's got to make a move up. Well, he needs to do that. If it's just a move up to get up there because he's trying to move to a better shot angle, that's one thing. But if he's going to go chase, he's got to let me know so that
yeah,
I know to move up, right? Otherwise, I'm
exactly.
Yeah.
just back
Yeah,
there.
you're stuck back here, and he's now 200 yards away from you, and you just kind of broke that chain of communication.
And
It's
that's
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
I'm out of sight. I like to keep them in sight, but there's
yeah,
sometimes one of the most effective things that I like to do is because a lot of times if it's more open, a bull is going to go so far because he's like, well, where's that elk?
yeah.
I'm hearing it, but I'm not seeing it.
That's right.
So sometimes in order to pull that elk, I got to move away
You got to get further.
and let my hunter be the killer, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
When I'm doing that. So you got to be able to communicate with that, or you can kind of lose each other in the
yeah,
woods, with that. So
absolutely.
so we go through all of it. So our goal is to take, I go to take my 40 years of knowledge and try to teach people failure points that they are going to have to overcome so that they
Mm,
don't do make the same mistakes, right?
yeah,
You know, and there's sometimes they're just little things that'll cause those failure points, like
yeah.
getting behind something and setting up instead of getting
Instead
in
of in
front
front
of
of
it,
it. Yeah,
right? Or drawing where
yeah,
the animal has their head behind a tree, right?
yeah,
That's a failure point, right?
yeah,
So all of these things, even things as far as putting wax on your screws and checking those before you go out so that things don't come loose and come off your bow, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
It's, just things like that. Um, so that's kind of where we have come to at this point. But we're still doing the podcast.
yeah,
And people are like, "Well, you have a course, man. You're charging people for a course. Have you listened to our podcast?
yeah. I know.
It's all free, man.
It's all there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can pay for the structure or just tune in and pull your nuggets out.
Yep, 100%, man.
Yeah,
So that's the Elk Bros, man.
I
It
love
took me, I don't know how long to get that across there, but that's the Elk Bros, man.
That's kind of how we roll. That's about our intros, anyways, and then we
Yeah.
finally dive into what we want to do. So that was that's perfect. It's perfect context. It's going to give people listeners, something to go look into
Yeah.
and
For
check
sure.
you guys out. And I know I'm dreaming. I'd love to come down and do that hunt with you. Do the whole shebang. That would be such a cool
That'd be such a
experience.
cool
Like
experience. Yeah.
probably everything I think I know. I'll be. Let's just leave that in Alberta and teach
You
me,
know,
Joe.
look, look, bro. So I've done it the other way. I've come up and hunted Alberta,
Yeah,
you know,
that's where
and
we wanted to lead to,
it
obviously after. So
it brings its own failure points, man. I mean,
it's different. Like we talk all the time, and it's like our question is always, what would well, like you, Joe, what would Joe, how would Joe fare up here? How would Dan Staten fare up here? Corey Jacobson. How would these guys do up here in our thick, nasty bush? You can't see 20 yards half the time. Like, a lot of flat land. We don't have these big mountains and
yeah,
saddles
you got the
and,
rolling hills, yeah.
like it's such a different terrain. And I've always asked the question, how would they fare up here?
So
Yeah. Like,
I will tell you your bush it is thick, but generally on the outside you get inside and it's not bad. It's kind of like how what I grew up in the
Okay.
South.
okay.
and it's also the country type of country I'm most comfortable hunting elk in here. The thicker the better. Um, I would rather have an elk 30 yards from me and not have a shot, than have an elk stand out there 100 yards because it's very visual,
Oh, big
Right.
time.
you
I,
know.
I would I would agree to that for sure.
So I like to have them close and tight because if they make a mistake, that's a dead bull.
That's
Yeah,
right.
If they're far and staying, well, I get to enjoy the view and the sound, but that's
yeah,
not what I'm there for, right?
yeah.
Right.
So I like that thickness, man, and I really liked that up there. I like your bush, man. I like that, but the difficulties are the long friggin' days, the short friggin' nights, and
The no sleep.
and,
Yeah.
and you can't be in. Well, so I was hunting with Trav and some of Trav's buddies, just incredible group of dudes, man,
Mm.
that were our hosts over there. And you know, me, I like to be in the woods in the dark, calling an hour before daylight. They're like,
100%.
Yeah.
nope. They're like, nope. Not with our bears and wolves. We don't. They didn't want to be in there at that time.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So
Because I roll in the
I
dark.
I'll
Yeah.
roll in the dark too. Yeah,
yeah,
maybe it's I don't know if it's wise or unwise, but that's what I do.
Yes, maybe it's not smart, but to do it.
yeah, and it kind of, some of my partners and stuff I, and that's like in the midday. You guys have the longest daggone midday
Oh,
that you could be hunting, right? I would go out there and hunt that, but it's different as far as like trying to determine when bedding areas and stuff are because the thermals ain't the same.
no.
You
No.
know, where they go could be just wherever they go because it's all thick,
Yeah.
it's all shaded. So it's a little bit more difficult. You can definitely get on trails and work that like that. I saw things and I actually, I had a session where I went through before it got dark, just moving through, and I stocked up on a moose, and I saw some other things in there, but I couldn't get the shot on the moose. Had him at 40 yards, but it
Oh,
was just too much crap,
Too
yeah.
much
and
crap. Yeah.
I wasn't as big an animal as that is. There was no way I was going to put a bad shot on that animal,
No,
right? I don't want
no,
to put a bad shot on any animal,
no.
right?
For
So,
sure.
but that's what I would say is, um, like we go out night bugling to set up the next day.
Hmm.
Yep.
Well, shoot, by the time it gets dark at 10 p.m.,
Yeah.
you're night bugling at midnight,
Yeah.
and then you're getting up in 3 hours,
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 hours.
I
So
know.
yeah,
It beats you up.
there's plenty of
Absolutely.
time in the day to rest on
Yeah.
that, but I I like the active hunting times. It's kind of like what I love about New Mexico is I have 4 seasons, right? You
Okay.
got winter, spring, summer, and fall.
Yeah.
Um, some places don't have that. They basically have winter and summer, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Big time.
and that's what it felt like when I was hunting there. It felt like I had 2 seasons instead of
Yeah.
4 seasons, right?
It literally changes. We go from it's like summer to it might snow next week. Like it
You
just
might have 2 weeks of fall, and then all of a sudden you've got a foot of snow on the ground, and it doesn't leave till
yeah.
But
May.
it's kind of what I'm trying to describe is that like when I'm hunting, I know I've got before daylight, morning, then I can actually follow these guys to their beds, put them to bed. I can have a midday hunt. Then I can actually hunt them in transition. Then I can actually listen for them at night, get to
Yeah.
bed, get up in time enough to be able to do the whole. It's
To
like
do it
I get,
again.
it's like a,
I see what
Oh,
you
I see.
mean.
I see what you mean by seasons. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
In the
yeah, yeah,
day.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
when I was hunting Alberta, it was like we had 30 minutes in the morning because if we blow that bull out of this section of bush, he's gone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get your
Yeah.
one shot and then you're out of there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah. Typically, for sure.
yeah. So I'm like, and for me, I'm ready to go blow them out,
Yeah.
you know? I
Yeah.
mean, if I blow them out of this bush, they're going to the next one.
I'll just go over there
Yeah,
next.
I just go over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that part of it's almost like I went from having all of these opportunities
Yeah.
to these
To
opportunities.
two
Yeah.
windows. Yeah.
And I felt like it was just short and sweet,
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time with that because I want to be in the woods hunting, right?
Absolutely.
So.
Well, and that's last year that taught me was same thing. Like I would go up there for whatever 10 days and hunt with my brother, and we just basically agreed we're like we're staying out all day. Like I know like everything shuts up and your opportunities, nil. And what we learned this year, and I don't know what it was. It kind of reminds me of like whitetail hunting when we hunt whitetails. Like me and Engel, me and Mitch, we like to say like 10 to 2 is like that optimal window for whitetail where everybody's out in the morning, everybody's out in the evening, and we're like, no,
Right.
I want to go in the afternoon.
Absolutely.
I don't want the morning, I don't want the evening. I want that 10 to 2.
Yeah.
And we found with elk this year, we played bulls every day, sometimes twice a day, and it was all between 10 and 2.
Yep.
Like
100%.
we were in them all day. Like there was days we didn't eat till we got back to the trailer, and the year before, same thing. We do that first couple hours, and it's like, it's hot out. They're not talking. Let's just go back to camp. And this year we changed it, and it was just we just stuck to it and just stuck to the grind and slow played everywhere we went. Like you talked earlier on, you just walk around sounding like some cows.
Yep.
That's what we do, and then let a little bugle out, rake a tree, and man, we spark bulls
Well, next thing
all
you know,
day.
you have when if you hear something at noon or 11 o'clock in the morning, they're probably in their bed.
Yep.
So you have an opportunity to kind of move in on them.
And when you're doing that, when you're moving in, and people are like, well, but they're going to hear you. So you just
Yeah.
yeah, just
We're
give a
elk.
little calf call or something, man,
Hmm.
just to let them know that there's a calf out there, and it just keeps them calmed down, man.
Yeah.
Next
Yep,
thing you know, you're in the middle of them, right?
that's
Yeah.
right.
And
100%.
now you can either call, wait, or move.
Right.
You got those decisions.
You got
Yep.
those three choices to
Yeah,
make.
Yep. So
super
I
cool.
really, Chav, we went and hunted Colorado one year, and it was after Chav, he had cancer and lost his ability to walk, and he was slowly getting it back. So he was
Mm.
hunting from a blind, and we set him up, put him in a blind, and he saw more elk than anybody, but he saw them from 11 to 2,
Right.
Right.
right?
That's interesting. Hey, like I don't know what it is. Is it? I don't know why that window. Like obviously they're in their beds and you can isolate them, right? So, but it's just became a magic time for me now.
Yeah.
Well,
Even my cameras like on our home quarter for not elk related, but just deer. I get more pictures in the fall from 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. than I do first light or last light.
yeah.
Like I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing though is you guys' elk really don't have to move a whole lot. They're waiting
No.
until they get and they're going out into ag fields from the bush, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, right? And
Hmm.
and they can wait to do that. They don't have to move a whole lot to do
They
that.
don't.
No.
No.
No. It's short distances. Yeah. A mile or two is nothing for elk. They can cover that quick,
Yeah.
Really quick. Yeah.
really quick.
But in y'all's bush and then with all the ag, they don't have to do a whole lot.
No.
I think water becomes a big key, especially
Yeah.
where we were hunting. I guess if you're in the river country, that'd be a little bit different, maybe.
Of course. Yeah. You've always got that constant water source, but yeah, like where we hunt, it's a lot of I call it flat land, and there's not a lot of water, so you're trying to find a creek
Yep.
that for
Spring,
years has been dried up forever. Like there's never flowing water in them, so you isolate around those minimal water sources.
some seeps, like
Yeah,
wallows. Yeah. Like
yeah. Or like even we've been noticing like watching the oil field leases and stuff too. Like there's always a pool of water there, and it's crazy how many elk are just hanging out right off a lease, 200 yards.
Yep.
yep.
It's wild. Like, and everybody wants to go far. They want to go deep, and it's like you can watch 5 trucks drive by you. They leave. You walk 100 yards up to a little ridge. Let it cow call bugle goes, and the bull pipes off, and he's
Well,
just
and
right there.
you talk to those oil field dudes, and they'll tell you how many elk they see all the time,
Oh yeah.
and the elk are just standing there looking at them.
Yeah, they just
Yeah,
yeah,
until they stop the truck, right?
Yeah. Then
a
it's a
hundred
different story.
percent,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But they're used to it. It's what they hear every day, all day.
Yep.
Wasn't it you? There's some of your buddy. There was a dozer working. They were clearing a road or a pipeline, and
Yeah.
somebody
He shot
playing a
his
bull.
he shot his bull last year. And there was dozers and like backup alarms because they were doing some lease work, making a new lease like 600 yards away, and he was in a rut fest and killed his bull at 10 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of times I think we make overcomplicate it
Yeah.
and make that make them a lot more smarter. Yeah,
Mm.
I wouldn't say that they're all that smart. They're just great at surviving, right?
Yes, they're
That,
survivalists.
that's
Yeah.
what they do every day. They're trying to
Mm.
survive. Yeah, that's like I heard somebody say one time that a turkey's really not that smart. They just run around scared all the time, right?
Mm.
It's fair.
So, they're alert to anything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of good way to think about that,
No, yeah, it is. It's you just reverse that thought process, and then you can give yourself a little bit more credit as a hunter too, right? Like instead of always thinking they're so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard. No, you gotta remember these things, these critters are walking around. There's no, we can't hide it. Alberta has a grizzly bear problem.
Yeah.
They've got wolves, they've got cougars. There's every
Everything's
day is
trying to eat them.
survival.
Yeah,
Everything's trying to kill them every day.
everything's trying to eat them, right?
Yeah,
And including us.
they're gonna get smart.
Yeah,
They're gonna get smart. Like they're
but
gonna figure it out.
they also make mistakes, man. And
Absolutely.
you know, I think sometimes I don't know if this ever happened to you. Like, have you ever killed an elk and then it's like you can't get elk off of you once you have one on the ground? It's like all of a sudden elk are all around you, in the following days or, stuff like that. It's like I'd kill an elk and I go out there and now this big giant bull comes and he's coming in and I'm playing with him and I'm doing stupid stuff, trying to get away with stuff. He don't see me.
And you
Right?
don't even
Yeah.
care.
Yeah, he don't even care. And I'm like, and
You're like,
had if I
wait a
hadn't
minute.
killed a bull, and I'm like, oh man, I can't move because he's going to see me.
Right.
We put this stress on ourselves instead of doing the things that taking those chances that are going to give us the best opportunity sometimes.
Yeah.
And we actually create monsters under the bed.
Right.
We think the worst is going to happen instead of putting ourselves and taking a chance on the best thing. Do you follow
Right.
me?
That's such a
Absolutely.
good perspective. I
Yeah.
think I know for myself, you're exactly right, Joe. I think being too conservative was a big problem for me early on, and probably cost me a lot of opportunities.
Mm,
So that was a hard lesson to learn. And yeah, like I just realized now, like you can get away with a lot.
a lot.
So I tell people this, Mitch. I tell them do the math, right?
Yeah,
So if you have an elk coming and it's going a certain way where you're not going to get an opportunity, your chance of killing that elk is zero.
zero. Yeah,
Yeah.
So if you make a move to give yourself an opportunity, now you have a chance.
that's
You
right.
just gave yourself an opportunity.
You gave yourself some odds there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, if you blow that up, that's the same as what the situation was going to be in the first place,
that's
Before.
right.
right?
Yeah.
You got
So
nothing to lose.
so give yourself a chance. And they're
Yeah,
like, "Well, I don't want to educate." Look, all you guys listen, man. Now, I think it can be somewhat different where you're at because of the blocks of bush and they can actually stay there in areas and you can see the same bull or work the same bull.
hmm
But where we are, your chance of seeing that same bull because they're constantly being pushed and moved by satellites. They're moving with their herd to get to the next feed. They do a rotation. So a
yeah,
lot of
Okay.
times, if you don't get an opportunity on that bull, thinking that you're going to be able to call it back in the next day, no, that's not the case, man.
right,
Yeah.
So you got to be really, really skilled to target a bull and to stay on that bull and
right.
Well,
then take that bull. You know what I mean?
oh, I agree. We've been hunting. uh, We named him Wimpy, but we encountered this bull 3 years ago. I think you encountered him the year before.
Yeah,
He lives in the same pocket, the same bowl. We call it the sugar bowl. And you're 100% right. It is so hard to target a specific bull and hunt him. It is so, so difficult because, yeah, in that one spot, you blow him out, he's gone. He's smart. He knows where to go. You will not hear him again. He's
yeah,
done. Um, it is hard to target specific
I
bulls.
Yeah.
I think you guys might have a better opportunity because of how things are blocked out, depending on the size of it, and stuff.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yep.
but I mean, we don't know what happens at night if another bull doesn't move into that bush and challenge and push that
Well,
other one out of
that's
there, right?
that's
So,
just it. Because
yeah,
elk, they do move a lot in their bush too. It's just typically you might be able to find them within a 5 mile radius. You might be able to find them again. Like they don't leave the country. Like I hear a lot of you guys talking down in the States, right? Where you get on a bull, you miss that opportunity. He could be 10 miles away in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um, where our elk, like they typically maybe run a couple 100 yards, they'll shut up,
Sneak off
and then
and
you could try to play them again potentially in a couple days or the next day
yeah.
or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So that it's interesting the similarities and the differences. Now, the one thing, the big difference, and the big difference for our group was we don't deal with the apex predators, right?
hmm,
Like
Right.
you guys do. Yeah, we have mountain lions, we have bears. I've been hunting. I sleep in the woods. I'm in the woods in the
hmm,
dark. I'm doing, all of these things, and I've never worried about being attacked by a cat or a bear in the wild.
right,
Right.
I think the fringes of suburban areas have more issues than what you do in the wild,
Right.
right? So, uh, black bears, no, they've just never. I've never had that. Now, a grizz is a whole different critter.
yeah,
Um, Wolves, I don't know enough about them. They're just big dogs to me, so I don't
yeah,
know. That doesn't intimidate me a whole lot. Maybe I'm stupid because of that.
yeah. I don't know.
But
I
I,
haven't had many close encounters. I've one November just deer hunting years ago. We did have one following us walking on a lease road, me and my dad, and they're smart, they're sneaky. We were focused on that one, and right before we got to the truck, we could hear more coming beside us. So I mean, it's just that they're smart hunters. I think that's what makes me eerie about them. So if they really wanted to take you out, they've got a pretty good strategical plan to do so. But typically, I've never heard of wolf encounters where people have issues with wolves, right? Like,
you
yeah.
guys, that's because you guys hunt wolves, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
we do hunt them, and they
So
do have a little bit of
they have a
fear in them.
fear. Hmm.
Yeah, there is a little bit of fear in them
But the
too.
grizzly bears are all protected. They have no fear.
Yeah,
We haven't been
that's
able to hunt them for 20 years now.
And
20 years this year.
I
yeah,
think you could hunt them and it still wouldn't matter. Those things just, that's a whole different critter.
yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have to put a world of hurt on them, like really knock the population down
Well,
to
the issue.
maybe even put a little bit of fear back into
Well, the
them.
issue is we've had 20 years, so that's like a full generation of grizzly bears that have never had any hunting pressure. They have no fear of anything. They can
Yeah.
just run the
That's the
run the
one
roost.
animal that, yeah, that causes problems, man,
Big
for
time,
Hmm.
people that go up there, right?
big time. And you're
What?
hearing more people encountering them too, and having marginal bear attacks to people dying and
Yeah, it's no good.
you
Like where I used to hunt straight west of Edmonton, um, if you bugled, it was like a dinner bell. Like you
Right.
would have a grizzly. Like chances are you'd have a grizzly come in. You'd be calling more grizzlies than elk.
Thus the
it's,
reason the guys didn't want to cow calf talk in the dark.
Makes sense.
oh yeah, I can get on board with that.
So, which is something I never have to worry about.
Yeah.
So, uh, that's a game changer, man. Those
Yeah,
types of things that, when you have a skill set that works and you can't use it, it's
mm.
kind of like,
Yeah, you feel
Yeah.
locked up.
yeah, yeah, it makes it tough. So you've got to be really, really good at locating at night, being
Yeah,
on them first thing in the morning, and being efficient enough to close the deal,
yeah,
or
Yes.
being able to get them, when they're moving in the evening, get one to talk, get on it, bring them in, and
yeah,
then, call in the cavalry because now you got blood all over the place when you're trying to clean this thing in the
yeah,
dark where you got predators. So, uh,
yeah. Yeah, well, were you successful on your hunt? Like, did you
so
guys get to,
Luis killed one.
yeah.
I ended up shooting a bull in the knuckle of the
Oh,
shoulder,
Yeah.
um, and couldn't tell you how angry I was. So I told you I was an instinctive. um, finger shooter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it was the first hunt. Actually, I killed a bull. I killed a bull with. I had a client that bought me a brand new bow, all right? And because I'm always telling people you gotta be willing to try things and do this, I went through
Yeah.
a process of, okay, I'm gonna put my finger bow down. I will do all this stuff, and I'll get a
Yeah.
release, and I will learn, and then, and I did that, and I killed a bull with that, with a new bow. I didn't have pins on it. I had an Easy V. That's a whole different type
Yes.
of
Oh
thing,
yeah. Yeah.
right?
I know what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was using a release. I didn't even use a peep. You know, I tried to keep it as basic as possible. But with that said, so I'm with Travis and we're in those big leafy
Oh
fields
yeah.
that you have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a trail going through it, but it's, you're moving through it like this. And Trav's behind me I'm doing some little calves. He's doing some calves and some cow back behind me. And all of a sudden I hear some noise. I hear this noise up there and I see movement and this small bull is coming down through the leaves coming in front of me. And I'm knocked and I'm ready, and he actually stops, and there's a tree between us. It's not like I set up behind it, but there's a tree about 6 yards in front of me. So I go to draw, and with all that stuff around there,
Yeah.
I just leaned out to get the opening. Okay, here's a lesson, guys.
There you go.
If you are ever having to shift, if you draw and you're having to shift, you do not lean out and keep your hips behind you.
Mm.
Okay?
Take him with you.
You have to shift that foot 1 foot forward and shift your hips forward underneath of you so you stay in
Yeah.
Yeah.
form. Because as soon as you come out like this, you break form
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You're just leaning hard on
and you're
the.
looking completely different at
Through that
at
peep.
at whatever you're looking at.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
when I did that, now shooting fingers and you have it here, it's always the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never thought about it, right?
Right.
Mm.
But with the release down here and with the string here and then the sight doing its thing, I ended up shooting to the left and popping him right. And I
Mm.
mean, 4 inches back, bull's going down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Popped,
Yeah.
popped him in the shoulder, and it penetrated.
Right.
I found
Yeah.
my arrow, dropped right there, everything.
Yeah.
And I
It's a
know
little
the
flesh
animal
wound
was
on him.
fine, but for me, I'm not used to not finishing, and I was
Right.
Right.
very upset with myself. And
Oh yeah. For
I didn't
sure.
come to Canada not to finish, right?
Right.
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 Yeah.
How do you guys? Obviously, Luis got an elk. Like size wise, compared to New Mexico, are they pretty similar? Are the Alberta bulls smaller, bigger?
Like body size?
Yeah, body size. From a body
That's a
size
good
perspective.
question, man. Um, Gosh, that's a good question. I'm trying to remember because it seemed like your elk was very big body, but I still think it has a lot to do with maturity age, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, even myself, like I've killed bulls that, I could tuck that thing in the back of the truck no problem, you know, and then I killed a bull one year that back quarter, and that was the biggest. His head was so wide, it was almost like a steer, a
Oh
cow
wow.
steer. It was
Yeesh.
so wide. That's how old. And I mean, he was just massive bull.
Yeah.
You know? So, it all depends on their age and maturity, even
Yeah.
with us, right?
It's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
But I showed a guy a bull today. I had a guy that was considering a hunt with us. It's one of our primitive weapons hunt. So that's different than our archery coach hunt because they can actually bring archery, crossbow, and muzzleloader, and they can use
Okay.
any of those, one or all or whatever they want. And and he was like, "Well, what's your chances of getting, you know, 40 to 60 yards on an elk at that time of year?" And I just sent him a video. I was like, "This is last year, August 16th, 26 yards." And he saw the bull coming through in the video and he's like, "That's a tank," right? I mean,
Yeah.
he
Right.
sees it and he's like, "It's huge." And I'm like, "Actually, that's just a decent bull."
That's
Right?
that's a decent bull.
Yeah. So we have some tanks, You know,
Right.
Yeah.
that was a decent bull there. So yeah, that's I don't know. I only saw the one on the ground that
Yeah.
that Luis killed. It was a nice bull, and it was great for the Elk Bros to go over there and have some meat come home.
Hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
because the fearless leader screwed up, you know.
Yeah. You need some help every so often, right?
Yeah, I guess, man. Gosh.
Do you have any plans to come back or?
If I do, I I really would like to be in more of not the ag type
Hmm.
Oh,
thing.
okay.
I
Yeah,
I want to be up where it's more, forest, river, that kind of situation
Yeah.
that
myself.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't play with that egg stuff. It's mainly permission. It's just in my opinion, I find it hard unless you have that really locked in to kind of freely go about it. It's like you have to have that play, that plan,
Yeah,
and so I just cater to finding the biggest
track of
amount of
bush.
bush that we can find, so you can just decide what you want to do. You can go anywhere you want to go,
Right.
any wind, any whatever. I've been pretty much purely bush.
Yeah, I
I
like I
haven't
like
played with
I
that.
like pounding bush, finding the bull that wants to play, and
I think your big bush with the pipeline cuts would be ideal.
that's where
Yeah,
we go. That's
yeah,
pretty much what it is for us,
yeah,
for the most part.
yeah,
Yeah. And really, I don't know that well, and see, I'm so used to only hunting one animal a year because I always hunted New Mexico, right? And if
yeah,
I didn't draw New Mexico, we went to Colorado. Well, that's fading away, right?
yeah. That's what I've
Right.
heard.
But and so I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to miss hunting elk here to go hunt someplace else because I love hunting elk here.
For
Right.
sure.
But man, your moose have just got me enamored.
Yeah, yeah. Our moose or something,
They are.
and it's nice because you get that general tag till most places, anyways,
Yeah.
right?
I
Till
mean, that's
the
starting to go away too.
I
But
know that's starting to go away too.
you back like 10 years ago, you could have a generally you could just go buy an over the counter tag and up north
Yeah,
and hunt them on a with a bow till like the 24th of September or something like that. Like it was really nice. You could kind of catch that pre-rut for the moose,
yeah. The
and
pre-moose rut, and
yeah, it was
I
good.
I can tell you elk hunting is getting very expensive. If you're not in a state where you can get an OTC tag, or in a state where you're going to be able to draw a tag, um, for people that are trying now that are non-residents to hunt, it's getting very expensive. I mean, it's become scarcity. It's because states are like, we're gonna try to do more to make it more difficult for non-residents so that
mm,
residents have more opportunity.
That's right.
Well, what happens with that is people just move there and become residents.
yeah,
Right. Yeah, if you want to hunt elk like
yeah.
bad enough, you'll
They'll
you'll
just
you'll, you'll move.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
for sure.
Go
So
get
I
a
mean,
mailbox and buy your tag.
well, take a look at like the population explosion in like Idaho and some of those places, man. And it's because, the opportunity's missing, so people are going there where they can actually still hunt, where they,
Right.
when they have that opportunity. So now your population goes up, so what happens then? You're still having the same amount of hunters in the woods and your
Hmm.
resources limited, so now they start doing more draw type stuff, or they start
Yeah.
raising prices, or
Hmm.
because when you eliminate, that's the other thing, you eliminate non-residents, you're eliminating a ton of money that comes
Revenue.
in,
Yeah.
So
revenue
much.
that comes in to all parts of your state for all different things. But think about your
Absolutely.
wildlife agency and being able to run like that. If that revenue disappears, how do you make it up?
Right.
That's right.
You got to raise rates with your
Then
residents.
everybody else just pays
Yeah,
more for their tag.
I think
yeah,
that's why a lot of Americans and non-residents love Alberta
Yeah.
because it's so cheap for
Still
them to. It's
affordable.
so
Like,
affordable. Like it's pennies
yeah.
yeah,
for. I was looking last year. Just I was like dreaming of like, oh, maybe I'll go hunt elk in Montana.
Yeah.
First of all, like I don't understand the draw system and how the points work.
Yeah.
But like I
I
was
still
looking
don't
at the
understand all
cost of the
that.
points and the cost of the tag, and I'm like, this is like thousands of dollars. Like this is a serious chunk of change
Yeah.
where like I can go buy an elk tag for $55 and
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know go
Right.
Yeah.
about my business.
We just get the one.
Yeah, we get the one. Yeah.
But
No, and that's one of the things I have a hard time with is that the people that should be able to augment their table with additional food and stuff like
mm-hmm.
that is generally out of their economic reach.
Yeah.
And
I know.
I think that's a hard one. That's one reason I created the adventure club that we have. We have a thing called the adventure club, and for $325. So like if you were to go apply for a state in a lot of these states, it's going to cost you money, man.
Oh
And
yeah.
if you don't draw, it's gone.
It's just
So
gone.
It's
thanks
just
for your
gone.
donation.
Yeah. And so I created something called the Adventure Club, and for $325, um, every 32 people that join, every 32, so you get a 1 in 32 chance, we put them in to be able to draw one of our $10,000 hunts, right?
Wow.
Okay.
But included in that, they get my course, our online course. They get
Okay.
access to all of the webinars that we do that nobody else
Yeah.
does. They get all of our Success Squad materials. They get discount codes. The discounts alone will take that whole price and lower that down
Right.
on there. So we do all of these things to give value for them to learn something or to be able to get something
Yeah.
instead of just seeing their money just disappear.
Right.
Right.
And they get a 1 in 32 chance to come and hunt with us, right?
That's super cool.
So for $325, they get a $10,000 hunt. And and I'll tell you, the people that have been winning this, because I think we've given away three or four, is so cool to have them in camp because they
I
are
bet.
just so ecstatic, man.
So
They're
fired
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
yeah.
Is that available to Canadians? Like can
It's available to
Canadians
anybody.
anybody can jump in on that?
Yep,
That's
anybody.
cool.
Because, that and so here's the deal is our hunt cost is $10,000,
Yeah.
right? So you take 32 people at $325. Well, you might not be able to afford that $10,000, but 32 of you pays for that hunt, and one of y'all is going to come.
And one of you gets to go, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the rest of you are going to still get something out of it. It's
But you're
not a
still getting
waste.
value. Yeah, you still have meat to chew on,
Yep,
to
and
be fancy with wordplay, you still get a ton of resources and information. So you're not left empty.
Yeah, you get an opportunity to go on a hunt and you're investing in yourself through education and all that other good
100%,
stuff.
and that's
Yeah.
priceless right there.
That is priceless.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I created that because for me, look, I'm a retired teacher coach. I
Hmm.
am unable to afford a $10,000 hunt.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's not going to
Hmm.
happen.
Hmm.
So I wanted to see people to have an opportunity to hunt this land that I think so much of and this
Right.
place and to have the opportunity to get the education that these other people are on an actual coached hunt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
that's
they can actually so we do all of our coached hunts, we do all of our archery are coached and we do one coached rifle hunt, right? And
okay.
then once we get into our regular rifle season, then it turns over to what we call teaching guide. That's your more traditional. But again, nobody's ever in the back seat. If anything, they're beside us as our partner, and we're sharing every aspect of the hunt, having those conversations like
Hmm.
partners do.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So, yeah, no prima donnas. If you think you're going to come with us and kill an elk and watch somebody clean it for you, that ain't happening. No.
Yeah, you can go and spend that 10K somewhere else and
Yeah.
have somebody do that for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, the thing is our 10K, the ranches that border us are almost double or one and a half more. And that's with
Wow.
no education. That's just 5 days. They come out, do their thing, and they're done. We're educating months ahead of time,
Yeah.
and then at camp and then in the woods. So
Wow.
the education is priceless. So,
No, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I think that's huge in our day right now too, because we're in such a click and give it to me in my face, right? That I feel like we're losing that intimacy to learn and to have an eagerness to equip yourself, right? We
For
just
sure.
get this like self gratification that's like, if I buy this, I can go and do it, but and it's so false, and then you're left feeling in the dumps because you didn't do what so did on Instagram or TikTok, and so to have like that value of resource, like it's huge, right? And that's
Well, even too, like you look at a lot of the videos that like, born and raised, and even like Elk 101 to a certain extent, like they're not explaining, they're just showing you elk content and elk
yeah,
hunting, but they're not explaining what's actually happening and the decisions that are
yeah. There's
being
no
made.
context to the hunt,
There's no
right?
context. Like it's
Yeah,
great entertainment, don't get me
absolutely.
wrong, but there's lots of decisions being made that
Yeah.
maybe like the viewer, they're like, wait, why did they do
Why
that?
did
Or
they choose to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like that's
Well,
not being portrayed.
to give Corey props, man. He is a. So I don't know if you know this, but Corey's a coach as well.
Yep.
Um, and he coached basketball, and he does podcasts. He does things where he teach. He does seminars. He is an
Yeah.
incredible teacher, incredible coach.
100%.
Oh yeah.
So I really like what he does with what he does. And I told him him and I were um, at a ranch together, and I told him, I said, Corey, I just want to thank you because you were inspiration. If I had never seen your course, that idea to
Yeah,
do what I did would have
Right.
never come up, right? So
Right.
100%.
yeah,
Yeah, no, his course,
Yeah.
like when I took his course, it was super valuable, and it definitely, I would say, it definitely like my learning curve was still quite long, but I know for a fact,
Shortened
like
it.
it definitely shortened that learning
Yeah.
curve for me quite a bit.
can you imagine though? Think about this, man. And I know do you guys need to leave? I mean, it's getting late here,
Oh,
Oh,
so
I'm
I'm good.
good. I'm
Yeah.
good if you're good.
imagine this, right? Um, guys that go out every year, let's say a 5 to 7 day hunt, and
Hmm.
what their cost is each time they do that. If they're driving from North Carolina, they're buying their license, they're bringing their
Oh,
food
yeah,
vehicle,
I can.
you're
Yeah.
looking at, 3 to 5 grand sometimes, just
Mm-hmm.
depending, right? Or
Yep.
you're flying out, um, and they're out there for 5 to 7 days. Let's say 7 days, after 5 years, they're basically have a month of elk education.
That's right.
I know.
And if they're spending 3K a year on that, which is pretty bottom line, right?
Yep.
Hmm.
You're talking about 15K, right? 15K for a month's worth of education.
Yeah.
So what we try to do, man, is we try to give them 40 years of education
Boom.
that is priceless.
Yeah.
You're bang on, Joe. That's exactly why I took the course because I recognize like, yeah, I'm not getting the education fast enough, and there's a resource here that I can take advantage of. There's
100%.
so much value there.
Hmm.
And I tell people, get Corey's course, go do, oh gosh, there's so many that's on
Well,
there.
Cody Rich has stuff going
Oh
there,
yeah,
right? Elk hunt.
yeah, Cody Rich
Yeah,
has his 101, 201,
Yeah, 201, and
and
I think he's been
301.
talking about 301. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And Cody is a great educator, man. He really is. He's just a great dude. There's so
Yeah.
many good people out there that are doing stuff that can help. D- You know, uh, People pay to go on a vacation, sit on a beach, and they don't get nothing out of that.
No,
For
They
sure.
and you pay for these big seminars and stuff like that. Invest in what's happening between these
I
ears
know.
Absolutely.
because
But
that is what's going to kill animals, man. That knowledge
absolutely.
set, right?
Totally.
We have to invest in yourself. That's like our motto with Held Accountable too, is like even if you're a weekend warrior, hold yourself accountable and say, and because every weekend warrior goes home every season and goes, man, I wish I would have done more. I wish I wouldn't have slept in. I wish I would have maybe went a little further. Well, stop wishing and start doing,
Yeah.
right? And just start doing. And it's that information. It doesn't mean you have to go out and be this big backcountry hunter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brandon,
Just
my dad used to tell me when I was a kid when I'd say I wish, he'd say you can wish in one hand and crap in the other and and see which fills up first, right?
Yeah.
Right?
That's good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good. I love it.
Yeah. So, guys, man, it's been an awesome conversation with you.
No, it's been incredible. It doesn't even feel like we've been here very long.
Yeah.
I know we had a lot more, but it's
That's
totally
all good.
fine.
Hey, we can
Um,
always do this again.
I would love
absolutely.
to do it again.
You want to end it with your one final question for
Oh,
Joe?
yeah, I got a good one for you. Well,
Okay.
we'll see here.
Yeah.
If you could tell Joe, younger Joe, give him any advice after all these years, pertaining to hunting, life,
Yeah.
whatever comes to your heart first, what would you tell
Oh man, that um, for me, I have something for me that is just personal to me,
him?
and it would have been not to have been so selfish with my hunting time that I didn't include my daughters more in it. I would
Mm.
have, um,
Oh, that strikes the
Mm.
chord for us.
That's both of us.
Yeah.
it. I really, I really wish. Um, I love when I see fathers, daughters, father sons, mom sons, aunts, uncles. I love when I see that happening, and I've tried to do stuff to encourage that. We even do stuff where we give a half off with a full paid parent,
Mm.
like
Okay.
that on a hunt. But um, I I really think if I would go back and change anything, I would have I would have pulled my girls more into everything that I'd done and shared it more. I was a very
Mm.
selfish hunter, you know. I was that solo predator because in my mind was just about going out there and getting it done, right?
Right.
Right.
And I didn't want anything to blow that, right?
For
So,
sure.
Mm.
which is, I shouldn't have cared that much about that. I should have cared more about the times and the experiences that we could have had
Mm.
together. Uh, and I
Mm.
think we would have been successful in a lot of other ways because
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
little ones they grow up real real fast.
So fast.
Oh, yeah.
That's hitting me real hard because I was at work and I was texting my wife today. She had a moment with our daughter, and she had her own kind of convictions. She's like, "I just got to be better." I gotta remember she's just 7. And then, but I had my own last night too. I was putting all this pressure on myself to try to set something up, and
Right?
and that's fine, and I love it. It's motivating. It's cool. The podcast is growing. It's super fun. But like my daughter, she didn't even want to say, saying goodnight. I could see it in her eyes. Like she just didn't want to go to bed. And then she comes down and I'm like, come on, kiddo, you just got to go to bed. And I'm just so busy in me. And then she came down again and it's like, she's like, I'm hungry. I'm like, and it just hit me and my heart sunk. I'm like, you just want to be with me, don't you? She's like, yeah. It's like, okay, pull
Yeah.
up a seat, watch me paint walls, like just hang out with me. And
So
it's
Brandon,
those little things, man, that you just don't want to miss,
I
right?
will tell you, Brandon, kids have got to know that, and just like adults do, that we don't always get what we want, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
but
and that turn of it too, yeah.
but including them into some of those things that are really that we're passionate about,
Hmm.
that we could do a better job with that. Because life is life, bro. You got to do the best you can with what you have.
Yeah,
That's
For
one thing I'm
sure.
going to tell you.
hmm
Um, but did I do the best I could at times? And
hmm
when it came to this and how much I love this and how, including them even a little bit more in that world, um, I could have done a better job at that.
right.
So there's times when all of us make sacrifices in a family, right?
Absolutely.
But I think that's what I would have done.
That's good.
I think I am where I am. I wish I would have started this business that I'm doing now when I was 30. But
Mm.
Mm.
when I was 30, I didn't have the mindset to do it the way that I'm doing it now.
To be
So,
there, yeah. Like there's still purpose in where you are, right? We always reflect back, but
yeah. There's a maturity,
yeah,
I can enjoy other people's successes as much as I enjoy mine, and it wasn't like that. You know,
right.
I was so driven, so competitive, and I'm
So,
still a very driven, competitive person, but I really like seeing other people get these opportunities for these memories that I've had in my life. I've
mm,
been so blessed with it. So,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being so honest about that.
Yeah,
And
that was
I
amazing.
know it's kind of a deep question and could have went many different ways, but yeah, I really appreciate you
So
sharing your heart there.
I'm being held accountable, bro.
Okay. Nailed it. I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's true. I mean, accountability rings true in our life with everything, right? It's not just hunting. It's everything. You gotta put
I
yourself
will
in check every day.
I will tell you, hunting is just it's just a interface of life. It's a microcosm of it because, you know, to be successful at anything, it takes work, it takes dedication, it takes motivation. It takes taking risk and chances and doing some things that you don't always like doing. It
Hmm.
takes, if you really want to be successful, everybody's always working at the things they're good at. Well, what is it that you're not good at? Because that's
Right.
what's going to take you over the hump.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's huge. I hear that often, and I got to remind myself of that. Okay, yeah, I'm really good at this, but I suck at this. Well, I should probably pay attention to what I suck at,
Yeah,
Get
right?
better.
And
100%.
that's how you're going to elevate yourself.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
100%. Yep.
yeah.
Awesome.
No, that's huge. That's good.
Well, I think we should probably sign it off
Yeah, I don't
there.
know. I don't know how long we've really been sending this one, but it's been an experience. It's been such a pleasure having you share everything. I love
Thank
hearing the story too, the context, everything. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys and thanks for the invitation. Um,
Oh,
and next time, get your crap together with your technology.
yeah.
And our times.
And our
I'm, I'm
technology,
holding you accountable.
holding me accountable.
We appreciate
We'll,
that.
we'll find a way to bootleg your maple syrup for you down there as an
There you go.
apology.
But how cool is this, man?
It's
How,
unreal.
how cool is, you guys being up there in Canada,
Yeah,
me down here in New
uh,
Mexico, having this
it's
conversation,
unreal.
breaking bread, sharing, all of this conversation. And
Oh.
imagine if our friggin' government could do this, man,
How hard is
The
it? Yeah.
world would be a
Yeah.
better
Just
place.
sit
That's
here
for
and
sure.
talk your stuff out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
I really don't take this lightly, and I really appreciate it, man.
no, it's mutual. It was a little starstruck when you agreed to it, so I'm not gonna lie. And I don't, not that I want to put somebody on a pedestal, right? And flirt with that idolizing part of it, but it's just such a cool world, like you just said, that literally a guy in New Mexico and two guys in Leduc, Alberta can sit here and talk about life, hunting. It's unreal. It's
Yeah,
just such a time that we
yeah.
live in. So it's super cool.
I get people all the time that they'll send me a DM or a message or an email. I really hate typing, right? So I'll just call them on the phone, and they're like, "I can't believe you called me," and I'm like,
Right.
I don't get that, right? So number one, I'm
Yeah.
lazy, right? So number two, I love to talk about elk hunting. Number three, that's all I am. I'm just an elk hunter.
Yeah.
That's it. So
Well, and we're people at the end of the day, right? Like we're just
100%.
three men. That's all we are.
That's
So
right.
And if I start to think I'm something else than that, I come home and my wife's like, "Have you taken the trash out?"
yeah,
The reality,
she says you straight.
reality kicks back
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Yeah, God bless our wives. Keep us in order,
Yeah,
honestly.
for sure.
Very nice to meet you, fellas.
No, thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Joe. Appreciate your time.
You guys have a good evening.
You
You
too,
as well.
sir.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.